Let's do this.
Hell yeah.
What is going on, you guys? Welcome to Envision podcasting. Can we call it volume 2?
Volume 2.
Can we call it episode 1 of volume 2?
Chapter 2, episode 1.
Yep, that's it. Chapter 1, episode 2. That's what. I'm here with the phenomenal, as always, Liam, aka Sleepy Design.
How's it going?
He has been here forever.
Forever, man.
Dude,
forever.
You have been the guy. Like, you know what I mean?
I am that guy.
Yes. And that's where we end. That's where we can cut it.
I think this is, the fourth? This actually might be the fourth or fifth episode that we've recorded.
Yes.
Maybe the fourth episode that you put out, I'm thinking.
Yes, because I was actually just thinking about this. There was a episode that we recorded in a car.
Yes.
Fucking...
I think the first two, actually. Really? Or... I think the first one we put out was also in the car. And
oh, really?
Yeah, I think so.
Damn. We had that many romantic sessions.
Yeah, man.
In the car. That's crazy.
The setup has evolved and it's looking good.
Yes.
And,
I appreciate that.
Talked about how you're gonna build it out, and I'm excited.
Yeah, so that's a big thing. Like, one of the biggest parts about starting this, and one of the reasons why I wanted to have you on is because you've been such a big part of this kind of coming to form, and manifesting it now.
Right.
Obviously, I was dealing with certain things after Volume 1, the first batch of episodes that I did, where I was like, okay, I need a steady break. I need to kind of figure out what I want to really do for a living. I was dealing with a lot of issues outside of the podcast and work alone, with family as well. So There was just a lot of things that were getting in my way, but I also just made a ton of excuses along the way too. And that's something that I want to make clear. Like, I could have started this podcast again last summer and it would have been fine. But the thing is, I didn't. And I didn't because I was afraid of kind of coming back and, not only doing the same lame shtick, but also kind of making it boring for myself.
Yeah.
That wasn't until I kind of, felt more of a reciprocation from people, where's the podcast? Or, are you planning on doing another podcast? This and that.
Yeah.
And when you get things like that from, a small amount of people, but important people, it's good to, kind of be okay, kind of get back into it. You kind of have that light switch that flips on in your brain. So that's kind of where I'm at. And that's why, almost 2 years later, almost 2 years ago, I had filmed my last episode. But how are you?
I'm good, man. I feel like I have gone through kind of a wave of, being motivated, being unmotivated, kind of getting back into it sort of thing. I had to go through, I think I talked about this last time, I went through a lot of job difficulties. And so I kind of, in the past 2 years, I finally found a place that pays me consistently, kind of gives me a career path to go down, and also just gives me some stability in my life. So I've been getting back into drawing in general, and also just making projects like this new hoodie.
Yes. Shout out. That looks awesome, dude. That looks freaking sick.
I will, I'll show the camera. Let me see. Am I
you're
too tall?
You're perfect.
I can show it a little bit.
Yes.
But yeah, this is my new hoodie. I'm very excited about it. I went through 3 different manufacturers. Actually, it was 3 different manufacturers and 4 different print runs to try and actually get this the way it is.
Okay.
And I wasn't happy with the quality for a while, and I just kept pushing. I kept going to different places and kept trying different methods. And I finally found a place that would really do it the way I wanted. And it was frustrating to me how hard it was for me to get to this point, because it really doesn't seem that complicated. But at the end of the day, if you're an artist, you got to just keep going until something is right. If you look at something and you made it and you put it out, you're going to feel I feel shame for things that I put out when I don't fully give them my attention. If I leave something in there that I know I probably could have just worked out if I just took some time, you just gotta look, I don't know. I don't know. I know all creative mediums are different, but that's for me with art. I just can't put something out until it feels perfect.
Right. Well, and I think that there's an element about being a perfectionist that, you know, your audience and the people that buy your product can appreciate, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
Because you actually are putting the effort in rather than just, because you see that with a lot of like big brands, when they get up there, they just start dropping random stuff, you know what I mean? And it's just stuff that doesn't really matter, you know what I mean? It's like, this is the same design as, like, anything iPhone, I'm sorry, but like, goddamn, we're on like, what, like 17, 18? It's like, you know, how many phones are you going to trade in and get? How many times are you going to go to that Apple store before you realize, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That you had the same shit 7 years ago. You know, like it was the same thing.
Yeah, it's interesting because, like, honestly, I've done this for so long that, like, obviously, yeah, my stuff way earlier, like, I don't think anything I ever made was perfect, right? But I think I'm at the point where what I'm putting out is like I've at least attained a level of polish to where I can always be happy kind of and confident in what I'm doing. Like and even a lot of my older stuff too, like it's, you know, you're always just trying something, you know, you get to just try different ideas, try, you know, it's always an attempt, and even if you fail, I've come out with, like, it's crazy because I think when I look at my products on my Shopify store, I have like 50 or more, and it's like I didn't even know that. Like, I just looked at the number and I'm like, what? Like, huh?
I've put out 50 different.
I have 50 different products that I've designed, and there are a few that really do to me stand out as, like, not perfect, but like such a, again, like, I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but like to like a beautiful circumstance. Like if you keep doing stuff, there's gonna be points where you hit the mark exactly the way you want to hit the mark, and you can just, you have it forever, man. Like, you literally you did that, and so that's why, like, I'm keeping challenging myself. I've been keeping drawing. I'm trying to find different art styles and things to, like, maybe try and pivot into things that are inspiring me. Like, I try and just go for whatever I find interesting, and I try and just do that myself, or at least try and incorporate what I like about it into my art or something.
Now, you found different ways, kind of, to add on to that. You found different ways of, like, putting out to your audience, right? Like going to different, like, shows and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
And actually going in to, like, sell your product. So it's like, you know, you have those 50 items on, you know, Shopify, and it's really good to have that amount. But you maybe say that there are 5 that really stick out that are really, really good. Yeah. You take those same 5 and you bring them to, you know, a different space, it might, you know, change the effect of your business or change the numbers, or, you know, you might find a better audience, whatever the case may be.
So every year I feel like my goal is to increase the amount of time I spend going out to shows and, like, marketplaces. Because last year I did my first official marketplace, and that was, I went to New York City, I went to Brooklyn, I believe. And yeah, that was just, it was a crazy time.
Different crowd?
I mean, yeah, it was a stoner, it was like a stoner meetup, and people were selling weed and I was selling my clothing. And
Sign me up, you know, where was I, you know, the whole time?
Wasn't I in Connecticut, I guess.
Seriously.
Well, I didn't really think anyone was going to pull up, so I didn't really make a big thing out of it, but, because obviously everyone that I know is miles and miles away.
Right.
But it was fun, and it's funny because my goal was to sell one item. Literally, that was my goal. That was my personal, like, I can't be disappointed if my goal is one item. So I sold 2 items in the span of, like, 2.5 hours.
Right.
And maybe, like, 3 hours, because the guy I was with had to go early and everything, and it was like we showed up late. So at the end of the day, I was kind of sad I wasn't able to stay there longer. But yes, I sold 2 things.
Right.
At a real place, and to me that was a validating moment. Like, those people were really nice, and it gave me some good experience, and I'm still, like, really, I don't know, there's a big challenge in terms of bringing a bunch of stuff somewhere that is just, like, I don't know, dude. It's overwhelming to think about having to bring so much inventory to some place that's, like, just far away from your home, because I don't know, it's just, like, a lot of management of stuff, and also it's like you got to bring inventory, but then it's like I've thought a lot about what I want to do for my setup, and optimally I'd like to have, like, a big display wall with, like, some of my posters and stickers and, like, other things, and it's just like I gotta buy stuff on. I just gotta buy stuff to prepare for this sort of thing, and it's
right.
it's very new for me because I've been obviously online selling my stuff for like 5-6 years at this point, and it's
So
just
being
like,
in person is like that different type of like
yeah,
feeling because you're actually
and
you see the people too. That's another thing. I think that's a big change.
it's really beneficial, man. Like you make connections with people, and like they actually like there's for all the thousands of people I can get my products in front of online, it's like it's hard to not only capture someone's attention, but if that person has your attention, they might see you as a small brand and be like, well, is this what I see? Is this what I'm really gonna get?
Right.
Because that's the biggest thing. Is like I've bought stuff on Instagram and gotten shit. Like
Right.
I've gotten like stuff that's basically not.
Which Instagram, you gotta stop with your ads. I'm sorry, it's ridiculous. It's out of your like who needs a free scuba outfit? Nobody wants it. Nobody needs it.
Dude.
Like the ads you see are so they're so ridiculous. Like some of the ads that pop up, it's like who buys this shit? Nobody would buy something like that. Nobody wants to buy, dude. Like, you know what I mean, like a Seahawk that you own or something like, you know.
And like I have to spend like $100 maybe on an ad to maybe get a sale, right?
Right.
It's not even guaranteed. So like I have to spend money that I could be putting towards products and my life that is just kind of vanishing when I do stuff like that. So it's like in an attempt to get some sort of audience, it's like, you know, I'm still trying to figure out my best method because like at the end of the day, I'm a business that sells products, and like a lot of people get turned off when you try and sell them stuff. You know, it's hard to engage and connect with people when you're just someone who's selling things.
Right.
And it's like, I know that probably seems stupid, but like
no,
at the end of the day,
absolutely.
like,
I understand what you're saying. Like I think that you have to think about it divergently, though. You know, like it's weird because we're so used to in society thinking about things from a convergent standpoint of like, what's the one answer to this problem? You know what I mean? Let's just say, you know, advertising on Instagram is not working, so you go to advertising on Facebook. Maybe that'll work.
Yeah, no, I've literally tried like 4 or 5 different platforms in terms of advertising, and it's like all of it besides Instagram felt like I was sinking my money into just a giant pit.
Right.
So I have yet to really, and that's the thing, everyone's gonna be like, ugh, but I have yet to really try TikTok in that same vein because I was more so just like burnt out on trying all the other platforms and not getting any results, and people were like, well, because I don't really make TikTok videos, so if I put money behind like a bad video, like I'm not gonna feel great about it. So if it comes into my head and I can make a good video, then I'll make a good video. But I haven't had any great ideas for one, so until that happens, TikTok is not what I want to focus on. I'd rather focus on in-person stuff because connected, like as I said, like with all the thousands of people that I can show my products to online, they're not gonna know if my product is good or not. But in person, they can see it, they can feel it, and they can talk to me. And those things alone, like I feel like those 3 factors is like you're gonna have like 100% increased efficiency by the money that you spend trying to get out in front of people that you can really talk to and see versus just popping off online. Right. And it's like, dude, it's crazy too because like I'll spend money on trying to get people to like follow my page, and then like those people unfollow like almost immediately sometimes. Like I literally like bleed followers because I don't know if it's deleted accounts. I don't know if it's like people are like not following me on purpose. Like I don't know what is happening. But,
not to throw another shot.
Money spent.
I don't want to,
and it sucks.
I don't want to throw another shot at Instagram here, but I will. Fucking, you guys gotta stop with your advertising too, because like you spend like $30 for advertising. Let's just say it's $30, and they're like it reaches 10,000 people. Instagram, how do we know that? You know what I mean? Like, how do we know it reaches? That's just the number that you guys say. Oh, it's 5,000 to 10,000. You put that, and you click the bubble, and you're like, well, I hope it's 5,000 to 10,000. You just kind of cruise along. Yeah, you know, there has to be a way of being able to identify like how much of your product and content is actually reaching a certain audience based on the money you're putting in.
Because it just seems like I will get a lot of followers from an ad, like sometimes 100 or more, but it's just like, honestly, it's hard to know if those people are actually even real because when I post content, my reach is pretty much the same. It's like, these people, I don't know if they're entirely fake accounts, if most people don't just don't interact with stuff. I don't know if it's ads are killing my reach. I don't know what it is. But it's like, at this point, I've put in a lot of money into that, and it's like been extremely disappointing. And I really wouldn't recommend it to anyone who's not like, I don't know. Like, I'm sure it probably might work for some people, but at the end of the day, like, it's exhausting and it's financially difficult to continue. So.
I think it's left to if, like, you don't have any other options or you've tried everything else and you have extra money to spend. It's like the last resort type of situation because you can't put your money into something that you're not really fully verified on, you know? And I think that's what becomes difficult about, like, going to social media platforms or even promoting on, like, a TikTok. Now, obviously, it's important to usually go with what's trendy to branch out, right?
Yeah.
It just is. It's a part of our world. It's a part of the internet. It's a part of, like, that's why you see so many people who should not go viral. Like, when I was in middle school, there's that Catch Me Outside girl. Remember her?
Yeah.
That girl should have never been famous in any universe ever.
I mean, that's Bad Baby. She literally has a whole rap career now. So.
Right. In a list of men, she's, you know what I mean? Just run right through. Just unfortunately.
I feel like virality is interesting because, like, when I was a YouTuber, I probably mentioned that I did YouTube for like 7 or 8 years or something like that. But I was, my whole brain is like, I was 13. I was like, I need to get views. I need to get views. I need to get views. So you just focus on what is popular or what you like and what you see as like, oh, this is doing well, so I can do this. So yeah, you can just read trends like that naturally and then just do that. And eventually you do get an audience. Like, I had 2,000 subscribers at the end of the day. Didn't pay a single dime of advertising money, obviously.
Right.
And it was just off of knowing what was trending at what time, and just by being online and knowing that stuff, you just know, you know what I mean? And so, yeah, I just did that, and I got, like, one of my, I think maybe like 1.5 million video views on YouTube. That was what,
that was
like
good.
For my whole channel.
That's pretty good.
I think my peak was like maybe like 2.5K subscribers. Like, I figured it out, and it's just like, it's incredibly hard for me to do that at the same time as making a video that's like actually genuinely interesting to me. Like, back then, like, I was actually interested in stuff that was like as I was saying before, I literally was playing Call of Duty and trying to make the zombies glitching videos. So I would literally see someone do a glitch, and I'd be like, oh, let me do that again and record it, and now it's mine. Yeah. And it's like, I'm literally stealing an idea. Like,
that's what I'm doing right now. I mean, honestly, like, screw it. We're both doing it. Both criminals in this field.
So one of my, like, claims to fame or whatever, I made this stupid-ass Pepe the Frog edit from SpongeBob, and it was just, like, there was, like, a victory. So at the time, there was a meme where it was this dude screaming, like, the top of his lungs, and he was, like, it was, like, it was a Pepe scream. And so I thought it was funny to put that over the victory screech from SpongeBob. I literally just mashed it together because that's fucking... There were already victory screech memes from SpongeBob. So it's like, you literally just putting two things together and mashing it together and just being like, hello, internet. So they loved it. People shared it all over. And that's I had like 350K views from it at the end of the day.
Really?
I was like 15 or 16, so to me, I'm like, this is awesome. I'm amazing.
Right.
But then
I'm a general. Like, he's just freaking...
People naturally ripped it and put it on other platforms, bro. It got over 1 million views on Instagram, and it got, I don't even know, probably, I think over another 1 million on Facebook too. So it's like, and then people also uploaded it and ripped it. This dude got 1 million views on YouTube too. So I had to take, I actually literally, stupid ass me, I took DMC takedowns on people just to be like, that's my video, bro, please.
Why was that stupid, would you say?
Well, I mean, I don't own SpongeBob, I don't own the Scream.
True, but you did make the video, and they didn't adjust it at all, and they just took it from you.
I know, and it's like...
You get ice cream at the store, right? That's where everybody can get ice cream. If I walk into your house and steal your ice cream, it's no longer my... It's not no longer your ice cream. That's still yours. You know what I mean?
I mean, and honestly, YouTube did appeal to it, so it's like, I guess it did technically count as my intellectual property to some degree. even though
you didn't create the characters, but you still
Right.
put everything together in the
Yeah.
sense of like making that specific video. So,
But yeah, and then I had some stupid Minecraft video that hit 500K. Like I've had moments where like shit just pops off, and then you just get a bunch of attention from it, and yeah, I mean it is fun, and it is exciting, but my goal is to do that with something that truly matters to me, like something like a topic or a product that truly matters to me. And like honestly, I know it's gonna happen probably one day, and I just gotta keep trying. But it's a lot harder to do stuff like that again when you're pushing something that is viable. Like I'm probably better off not only going in person and doing stuff like that instead of trying to get viral online, but then also just like I probably should just like pay people to not review, but like pay people to like I don't know, maybe I could relatively cheaply get like sponsorship slots on certain YouTube.
that
pages
wouldn't be
and
a
stuff
bad
like that.
idea, yeah. Like, or I mean, I just shit on the Instagram advertisements, but like something along the lines of working with a sponsorship on like an Instagram or Facebook, to
Yeah.
promote your product.
Yeah.
A lot of what I do isn't like, because it's not like for virality. Like everybody knows, anybody who knows me and understands and has been along this journey with me understands that none of this is for virality or any of that. I personally don't give a shit about none of that. For me, I like doing this because I like having people in my room where I can just fucking get them. No, I'm just joking. I like to have people, come in and just fucking talk to them and see how they're doing, where their creativity's at, like, what we can build together, what future possibilities, we kind of hold in our industry, stuff like that. It's never been for virality. I think that a lot of times we chase virality, and it waters down our creativity and our product in general. Like if I were just doing this for viewership and I were talking to people that were just boring but popular for whatever reason, you know what I mean? Like imagine I was like a finance podcast and I just brought bookkeepers on, bro, to talk about taxes and fucking, you know what I mean? Shit like that. I mean, maybe one bookkeeper this year, but I'm not going to fucking make it a thing, And I think that a lot of people get into that mindset where they are so chasing what's trendy because, again, what's trendy will get you popular. It's just the way things are.
Yeah.
But they chase that trend to the point where they veer off of their original idea for what the product should be. You know what I mean?
And it's funny you say that because honestly, when I first wanted to do this, like my inspiration truly wasn't to make, a bunch of money. It was literally to make cool products that I thought stood up and like, stood the test of like, oh, this, I could see it at a store. I could see this somewhere else that was not made by me. Like it looks official. Like I don't know how to explain that, but like it's a certain level of polish and quality that you can see someone spending money on that.
Right,
like,
right.
And that is what makes me happy is like when I have a product that isn't cheap but is made well and has, good stuff behind it so that when someone actually wants it, I feel like I'm giving them something good. I feel like they're not going to be disappointed because if I think they're going to be disappointed, I'm going to feel bad. You know what I mean? So I have to believe naturally in what I have, in what I'm selling.
You're not like a bad door salesman, you know what I mean? Like, I used to be that. This internet's so good, but it's not. But you know what I mean? Like,
so many major companies put a pretty bow on a bad product. They put a good brand on a bad product. They know all about branding and advertising, and that connects enough with people to make them enough sales to where they don't have to worry about if people are disappointed or not.
Right.
They just have such a monopoly on the market that it doesn't matter to them. So there's a lot of companies that sell not great shit, and they're big ass companies. They don't even have, but again, they don't have to care. They don't have enough competition to make it matter. So like, I'm just in a unique position because I have to invest more to make my product better than a lot of places that don't care to, because I care about that personally. I care about having something that is like long lasting and durable and looks good. I care about all these things. So if I'm not satisfied with that, I'm not selling it. Like I tried to make tapestries once and they came out so shitty And I'm like, dude,
What exactly
no.
is tapestry?
It's just
I've always heard it.
I mean, it's kind of like, well, this is.
Don't touch her, Liam. Okay, don't you dare.
A tapestry is usually something that's hued like this, maybe a little bit smaller.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. Now that you're saying it, yeah.
Usually they're like psychedelic patterns or like a mandala.
I know what you're talking about. I've seen the big fucking like sign thingies. Yeah.
I've wanted to do that stuff with my art because my art is kind of big and elaborate, and so have it printed big seems like a cool idea. And
right.
I actually got one. I got one made for my cousin a couple Christmases ago, and that one came out okay. But like, honestly, dude, so many companies that try and do like custom shirts, custom hoodies, a lot of these companies have shit quality, bro. And you have to dig, dude. Like I said, it took me 3 or 4 companies print runs to actually get to this hoodie. I'm still not fully satisfied because I think the fabric could be better.
Right.
Granted, I kind of landed at this because the print was so much better than the other ones that I'm like, this is an improvement. This is a direction I'm going in. So at least I made progress somehow by pushing.
Right.
But like, yeah, optimally, bro, I want to find hoodies that don't have as much fabric pilling and are, just in general better quality and don't shrink super. There's a lot of stuff you got to deal with when it comes to that stuff if you actually have standards for it yourself.
Right.
Like, if I didn't have standards for it myself and I'm like, well, the art came out good, then I wouldn't care. But, like, honestly, like, I truly do have standards for it. And, like, yeah, because of that, it's been fucking hard. Like, there's print methods that I don't want to use because I feel like they don't make the product that I feel like looks the best. And, like, at the end of the day, I'm not willing to budge on that. Like, some people probably would, but like I even if it's not making me as much money, bro, that is what I wanted to do. That's what I set out to do. If I'm not doing that shit, it's not fulfilling.
Right.
That's just how.
Because you're just making a bunch of money selling a product that you're not even invested in yourself.
And you're probably not even making that much money, bro. Like, especially as a small business.
Yeah,
like,
that is true.
You're probably not even making much. So like, you're cutting corners for what? Like,
yeah, to get done quicker.
And then like, yeah, right. But then the people who buy your product, what are they gonna feel after a while? Like, if they see the product deteriorating and having holes in it, like some of my first runs had, like, I felt embarrassed from that because and it's like, I knew that people probably would see it and they wouldn't maybe tell me, but they're gonna see it, and it's like, I gotta do my best to sell products that I'm not gonna feel any bit of regret about. I know maybe there will be problems sometimes and I can't control that, but when it comes to stuff like that, man, I gotta do my best.
Another thing about seeing people in person, I'm actually glad that you kind of were talking about that a little, connecting with the audience, is you'll actually be able to tell where their energy is, but more importantly, they'll be able to see your energy. So the problem isn't it's like on a Shopify or like online in general. It's
you don't even know if they're gonna scam you.
You don't know that, but also your energy as a person who's providing the product is incredibly important, because it's like it's not just like in this context, because in this context energy is important too, but energy about your product and enthusiasm and what you bring to the table, that in and of itself can carry you like 70% of the way. You know what I mean? It really can. I've seen so many people sell bullshit, but sell bullshit based on their energy. You know what I mean? If you're enthusiastic about it, then I'm willing to invest more.
Sometimes people, like on my last podcast, I introduced myself as I introduced what I did, and I realized I sounded so unconfident because I was like trying not to make it sound like, because it's like when you call yourself an artist, sometimes it's like, it almost sounds like you're coming off with just like an inherent air of like, I'm an artist,
right.
I'm deep,
like you're Bob Ross.
Like, no,
you're about to assemble.
But I am a visual artist. I make graphic art, and I make hoodies and shoes and shit like that.
I think artist is like, like The Weeknd, he's an artist. You know what I mean? Like, you have these big stable figures who might be considered artists, but like, people generalize that term so much that we actually think that that's what they are. And it's like not. They maybe specify in a certain like niche, and that's wonderful. But that doesn't mean I'm an artist. I'm of many ways, and I'm the great. It's like,
people misuse a lot of those terms too, because like if you talk about like designing clothing, it's like sometimes, it's like people sometimes might think about designing like the actual fabric. Like I didn't like I don't design this hoodie. I print on blanks, and those are hoodies that are basically pre-made. So I design the art, and I commission people to do it because I don't have a setup and all that shit. So like, there's all different like ways of doing things, and there's a lot of there's just like flat labels for these things, and it's like, yeah, I don't know. I mean, everyone's kind of has their own method and shit like that, but it's also funny too because it's like artist could mean like visual artist, but then you say like when you're talking about art versus music, people know that you're talking about visual stuff versus audio, right?
Right.
But then art is also all of those things. Like art is writing, music, visual stuff, and you know that includes like painting, drawing, fucking every little bit of, you know,
music.
Like
music is a
shit.
big thing for. Oh,
right. Yeah. Well, that's what I mean. Like you like.
Are you just specifically talking about visual?
Well, no. Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, these terms are all like fucking stupid. Right. They're not stupid, but they're like confusing as fuck because, right? You can say correctly that The Weeknd is an artist, but that's like he's technically a musical artist. But it's like the term artist. It's just fun. I don't know.
Unless you're good
at regarding him better. That was.
But unless you're good on the computer at painting, you could rap. You could like unless you could do all that stuff. You're generally like you're an artist. I guess what you're saying is in your field. You know. What I mean? Yeah. You might be an art, and I don't think that there's anything like that would regard any sort of stigma towards you. You said, "Yeah, I'm a visual artist," because that is what you do.
No,
you know what I mean. And it's what you work on. Would that have been how I introduced you? No, but I introduced you as a person who owns a great clothing brand. You make the trippiest and coolest designs. You're able to connect with your audience the more you're on camera like this. You know what I mean? Because they can get to know more and more of you, where you plan on going, and where you kind of plan on leading them. Because you might have a lot of people who buy your products and then want to buy a second or third. And if you just kind of turn out and flip corporate and then become this bullshit product, then people stop investing.
Yeah.
So I totally understand what you're saying.
Dude, it's funny too because I've even wanted to I've honestly wanted to pivot officially, and like move my profile from literally because there's like you could have a business profile, but you could have like a personal profile, or like I think there might even be like an artist profile. But the business profile is what I started on because it makes sense. I sell stuff, but there's a lot of people who make art who make a lot of art, and I'm also an artist. Like I'm an artist who has a business, so like. It's just annoying. There's like little things that I can't do with my account that artists can do because they never chose that other option. And also like besides that, like my actual real point is like I feel more like an artist than I do a business person. Like I would actually rather call myself an artist because I don't operate in a way a lot of business people would operate. I don't operate in ways that compromise what I feel like is my, integrity, which is just like what I don't feel like doing, I'm not gonna really stoop to just because I feel like it might make me money or something. And that's like obviously a super simple concept and it's not really a high bar, but it's just something that I feel like there's just certain ways that I go about what I do that I feel like artist is kind of like a better label for me. And yeah, I mean, I'm not saying I would be upset if someone says I'm a business owner because I am a business owner, but like it's just in the way I would identify myself. It's like, yeah, I am.
Your personality, your like morale,
yeah,
more or less.
It's like I identify with all these things technically, but I identify most with artists because I feel like that is what encapsulates my real interest. Is like I enjoy making something interesting visually. And then if that happens to fit well on a product, then I can make it into a product. But I feel like otherwise, like the value of the product is not to have something to sell and make into money, but to have something for myself that I made. Like that is my desire. Right. And then sharing it with other people is that added bonus of like, oh, this is something I'm super happy with. You can have one if you want.
Right, you know what I mean? Like, I see what you're saying. You're not like pleasing the audience first. You're pleasing yourself first, in a sense.
Right, literally. Yeah, no.
Okay, that's a good way of thinking about it.
I am achieving my goal.
Right.
And then I am putting it out into the world.
That's interesting. I like that because it's like you have to have that natural draw to creativity. No pun intended, but you need to have that natural, focus towards creativity for yourself to perfect into something you like. Because it's all subjective. You know what I mean? Yeah. There's plenty of artists that you know that put out art or music or whatever that they don't like, but people love. You know what I mean? Or maybe the same topic that keeps on being brought up in a song or whatever that people adore, but you might not identify with that anymore. You know what I mean?
And this actually leads into something funny too. Not funny, but interesting. Because I was I was tripping one day, right? And I had, the traditional trippy thought where, you just come to this epiphany and it's like, wow, what the fuck? So I had a thought where I was like, and I wrote this down because of how much I felt like it was actually like, it was actually like spitting.
Right.
Because if you are someone who makes art and you genuinely enjoy what you're doing, what you're making, and then you maybe quit your job to do what you're doing, you become dependent on that success thereon. Otherwise, you could literally do whatever you wanted and you would technically be okay.
Right.
Like if you just stuck with your normal job, I'm not saying that like it's awesome to work all your life, but like I had this epiphany where it's like, man, I would have to care so much about people actually liking my shit. I would have to focus so much on pleasing other people and not really my own vision. And like then you become entirely dependent again on people liking you. Like,
but then some people are dependent on that because they make a living off of it.
Well, that's exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah.
If your living is tied to your value of how much you can sell, you're immediately going to be not a person. Like, I would not be a person who focuses as much on the art and the thing that I enjoy, but I would focus more on the business, pushing numbers, constantly trying to be relevant and trying to like appeal. So like it would literally change my whole value system.
Right,
you know what I mean? Like that
is interesting to think about because that's how probably a lot of corporate America became so fucked up.
Yeah. Like people, their dream is to get like as a kid, like I was 16 and I'm working in this little office and I'm just like thinking, man, I would love to just get like super fucking popular online and then have this thing and make it into this super profitable thing, make it into a company, hire all these people, and then just be able to sell it and then have my own like life doing my own thing.
Right.
And then, I real like the more I spend time on this earth doing my shit, trying to get a good job and fucking do art and shit, the more I realize that like that would like ruin whatever legacy I build on that. You know what I mean? Like you work so hard to do this thing. You put all your sweat and blood and tears into this idea to make it into a successful thing. And eventually it just gets so successful that you're like, well, I can make a lot of money selling it. But like the idea of whatever that is, the people who take it over are going to make that worth, like they're going to take the worth out of that. And they're gonna they're gonna convert it into money. And they're gonna cash out and get the hell out of there.
Right,
they don't care about the integrity of your product. Once they buy it, they're trying to make the most money off of what is already relevant and popping. You know what I mean?
Right.
If they're buying your product and your company, it means that is already something that people want. They can see the market there, and they can exploit the hell out of that market.
Right.
So that's why they're buying it. It's like there's no other reason, and it's happened to almost everything successful that like they talk about McDonald's, for example. Like McDonald's is literally a prime example of something that was actually like handmade food in-house that was really good and really affordable and made quickly, bought up by corporate interest, and now they're serving plastic.
Yeah. Now McChicken's, and on top of that too, the amount of like money that this food sells for.
Yeah.
Because even when it became like when it went from handmade to like more the fast and what our customers quote unquote need, when it transitioned into more of that corporate structure, the thing that you could say, and my grandpa would always do it, like you would always go to McDonald's because it was cheap. You know what I mean? So you'd always buy your family some food, whatever. Have your baby zone out from all the fucking disgusting fucking artificial shit you just shoved into their body. Their bodies can't handle it, dude. They fucking just become like zombies, dude. So you just give that to them to shut them up, whatever. If you're a parent, it was like the thing to do. Yeah. And then I guess like what kind of happened is they started obviously increasing prices like any other business, but they never increased their food quality. Yeah. So it's like now we're at a staple where it's like, okay, so tell me how a McChicken can cost $4 because that seems impossible. It's the size of your palm. It's like not real chicken. It's not real anything. It's not real buns. It's not real mayonnaise. And I worked at McDonald's for almost 2 years, dude. And it's like, it's all fake. It's all fake. I mean, the amount of shit that I felt bad for like throwing in the fryer just to hand it off to the next person who could possibly have a heart attack. Right in the drive-thru. You just hear that loud beep, you know what happened, Fucking.
I feel like, dude, I was also thinking about it. I don't know if I was tripping or what, but I was thinking about capitalism and corporate structures and the way that they take, like hijack things that are currently, viable. It's funny the way that basically, because you think about what's going on with companies that are huge major corporations. They pay the people at the very bottom who are doing the most work, the hardest work of all time, right? Like when we worked together at that warehouse, we were working our asses off. And we were fucking getting paid. You can
say UPS. Nobody who works at UPS knows that YouTube exists. Really,
we're on the underground right now.
No one's
gonna come for us right now.
Most people who work at UPS are 78 and older.
Well, we were loading trucks, and we were part of the reason why those products were getting to the place they were getting to.
Right.
And we were getting paid shit.
Yeah.
We were getting paid shit.
Yeah.
Our bodies were suffering and we were getting paid shit.
Right.
And honestly, bro, the people who are making millions of dollars off of us, they are basically sapping the value up to the corporate, up to the highest corporate level. They're sapping the money like CEOs. They'll just take it and then they'll just leave.
Right.
They'll take millions of dollars in a bonus.
Right.
And then that is where the value is going that you, the worker, are creating. That value is going to that guy. And like 99% of it is going to the top. There is no, all of the value, the real money that is being made, it's really not much of those guys. They're securing maybe the funding, but at the end of the day, the people who are actually suffering, who are actually spending their lives for these companies, they're not getting a fraction of what they should be. Yeah, that guy should make a lot of money maybe, but he shouldn't make that much money. And I think a lot of people agree.
I think that it's that's how you also inspire Luigi what's his name?
Luigi Mangione, yeah.
Mangione or something like that. Hey, listen, if you could pop up a photo of him right here.
Oh, yeah, right here.
Yeah, right here.
Right here, my boy.
Boy our friend. No, don't. I don't know.
That's my boy. I'll claim my boy.
You might have a couple people who are like, oh my God, the great leader. Okay, here's the thing. So, what he did, obviously, to the United Healthcare CEO is illegal. It's wrong morally. And never kill somebody over First off, you don't even know that.
We do not condone.
It's like one of those things where it's like when you're talking to a person, if you have a dispute with a person, I'm not saying it's right, but it's more likely that you're going to if you have a problem with them, something will happen in violence. But you gotta think these guys didn't even know each other. You know what I mean? He was just upset with corporate America and the way that its outlook was.
Well, I think what happened from what I understand, that company directly denied claims that ended in one of his family members dying.
No, I did hear about that.
So I think there was a personal target from him on that company specifically.
True. Okay, that's good. That's good to actually kind of keep in mind. It's funny that you're saying that because those details are kind of coming back, but I don't know the full story about it. I did hear that Like, it did kill one of his family members, but at first I kind of just thought that was a conspiracy theory. Because,
no, I'm pretty sure that's true. Because otherwise, like, how would you have that motivation to do that specific
well,
thing?
that's what I was going to kind of get into. So, like, corporate America, baby. Like, that's what it pushes these people to do.
But
I
think the reason people think, like, the reason people justify what he did is because of that idea that this company is essentially killing people in what their policy is, right?
Right.
That they can deny any claim for, I don't know if it's any reason, but they deny claims all the time from what I understand.
Mm-hmm.
I am fortunate to not have gone through that, but I'm sure I will eventually. And it's just like, like, these things are ending in people's lives ending, and or lifelong debt that may cripple them and send them into, so it's just like situations like that. I think there is this may seem radical, but I think that should be considered violence. I think that should be considered something, or at least there should be more weight placed on stuff like that, because obviously what Luigi did was awful, but I think in his mind he's enacting that same cruel justice, not even justice, but like that same cruel fate that they're enacting on people every day has been enacted on the person who's one of the people who's profiting off of that the most,
It's so funny you said that, because I don't think people, okay, and this is me personally too.
Yeah.
I don't think people I think that what he did was wrong.
Yeah.
But I don't think he was wrong.
Right.
And what he was attempting to do, what I mean? Which is send a message in his own way about how these people are getting taken advantage of, and one life of a united healthcare CEO is verifiably more important than these other people who are dying that you don't really hear about. But that one CEO was on the news, so you heard about him. It's kind of like one of those things where you get fixated on, is it quote unquote cold-blooded murder? Yeah, but it's not really any different from what's going on with these patients who are dying.
Exactly. And those are people who have absolutely no blood on their hands. Like, at least the CEO, who, like, you can theoretically say that if you consider those things as violence, even if they're not directly him doing a thing to a person, him, like that, I don't know. It's just one of those things where, like, obviously his personal responsibility in it, you can argue that. You can argue that he doesn't have so much, he doesn't have all the personal responsibility and all that. But, like, at the end of the day, it's a cruel situation. There could be more done about it, and, like, I think the logic of someone like Luigi is that this person cutting these corners, or at least these people cutting these corners who are making these millions, they could probably spare a few million to save people's lives, and it would be minimal. It would be a drop in the bucket percentage-wise of what they get to keep and what they get to actually have and spend. And a lot of those people, fun fact, a lot of people don't spend the money they make. They reinvest it to make more money, because it makes them more like they only spend it on large capital investment. It doesn't really go much back into the economy as much as people would like to think that trickle down type shit works. But
and I was gonna say too, like, let me give you an example. If I teleported you there, like 15 seconds before the scene takes place, and you have a chance to stop Luigi, Mario's not there.
Bro, I would literally close my eyes.
Yeah.
Literally, because, like, at the end of the day, man, like, that's what they're doing. That they're literally closing their eyes to people who need care.
Yeah.
They are ignoring it. Yeah. And that's what I would do.
I think that's the real question, you know what I mean? I think that's the real question for people, is like, because you can't judge it based on whether it was, like, wrong or right, really. It's so subjective that you just got to put yourself in a situation where it's like, well, if I could stop Luigi in that situation, would I have? Me personally, I don't think so. Yeah. Only because, like I said, shit like that is kind of gonna... It was like, remember when Hulk Hogan was racist? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that was, like, a whole thing? And then he just kind of, like, waltzed back into, like, wrestling. Like, they were just gonna open arms to this guy who, you know what I mean? Like,
bro, Vince McMahon got in a crazy car crash. Sorry, I'm just off topic, but that shit was... Dude, Vince McMahon is a fucking horrible person.
Yeah,
I don't know if you know about his controversies.
Oh yeah.
He's on that
let's get into it.
He's on that Diddy type shit. Really.
Yeah, he actually. I watched a video on this.
Yeah.
He apparently, first off, and I'm not. This is all reported what we've seen. We're not saying that this is true, but a lot of it seems,
alleged. Just say allegedly. Allegedly over everything.
Right. So allegedly.
Honestly, I don't think Luigi's even been convicted. I think he's still technically the alleged killer.
Yeah, I don't think there was anything alleged about that. Like,
no, I'm just saying legally.
He is. Yeah, he's in court smiling like, yeah, you guys. It was.
I think I want to say this trial is still going. I could be wrong though. I heard an update about it.
Oh my god, his trial's gonna settle before YNW Melly's. Like, that's crazy. But okay, so going back to that real quick. So I did watch a video about how Vince McMahon was on that Epstein type vibe where he was like, soliciting obviously women to perform in the WWE, but apparently it's also guys. Yeah. I found that shocking. This is all allegedly, but like apparently he would sleep with some male wrestlers in the late 90s, early 2000s to also secure them positions just like the women. He was also, if you see a lot of the TV, like a lot of the things that he wanted to write, because I used to be a huge wrestling fan when I was younger. And even when I was younger, I knew about different shit that he would create, but would never get the green light because it was so insane. And one of them was him. I can't believe I'm going to say this. It was him impregnating his daughter.
Bro.
This is a real thing. Swear to God, you can look this up. You can look this up. It was, and it was funny because there's a clip of his daughter talking about him bringing that storyline to her. And you know what she said? She's like, I just think it's too much. It's like, that's where you draw the line? That's where you draw the line? Like, what kind of family is this?
I heard Vince McMahon was doing his Diddy shit.
Yeah.
And he literally took a shit in some woman's hair and just walked away.
That's some billionaire shit. That's some billionaire shit.
I'm telling you, bro. Dude, he is evil, bro.
Yeah,
he's evil. Allegedly.
No, I mean, like, if you see some of his scripted shit, too, it's like, I don't know how alleged that is. Like, I feel like he wasn't playing a character.
No, I think most people know at this point of his antics, which is crazy again. People know, and he's, shit ain't happening.
Well, one thing I will say, and I don't keep up with wrestling anymore, really.
Yeah.
You see clips here and there, but, I don't really, like, watch it regularly or anything. But from what I understand, they've gotten rid of him completely, pretty much. I think they've blacklisted. Yeah, I think they've blacklisted. Now, you guys can kind of fact check me on that. Any wrestling fans who are watching this, you guys can fact check me on that, because there might be. Like, I know grown-ass men who are wrestling fans, and they're the happiest people I've ever met in my life, Like, some of them are just so content,
My mom, so I grew up with a single mom. Right, and so my mom was just kind of like she was like very against certain things. Like she was against me watching. I don't know if she would have like banned me from watching wrestling, but she didn't like it, and she was like, you can never play GTA because you can do this and that to a woman or whatever. So like there's always certain things that like I kind of always had, like I always like kept my distance from for that or whatever reason, but. Wrestling actually is one of those things where I look back on it and I'm like, actually, I think that was like a lot more innocent than what my mom thought it was. Because I think a lot of wrestling is like, from what I've heard from people, it's more so like, it's like over the top manliness, like machismo type shit. But like at the end of the day, it's not like as much of the toxic masculinity. It's more so just like, people like it's like theater type shit,
right?
Like, people playing like these over the top characters for like the sake of like just the ridiculousness of it and like and silly stories and shit like that.
That's the magic of it. Like, okay, when I was younger, I would watch like Stone Cold highlights and stuff like that. Like when he was calling Stephanie McMahon a whore, and like he was like downing beer, and then he hits her with a stunner. Like
I can see that's why my mom probably didn't want me.
Yeah, that is true.
But at the end of the day, man,
that is true. You had the Undertaker freaking, like, he flipped this woman upside down in the middle of the ring and he was doing, like, a ritualistic ceremony. Vince wrote all of this out. Like, it's like, But like, it's so absurd that you have to buy in. Like,
Right,
it's
right.
like you have no other choice. If you think about it realistically, you'll turn it right off. You know?
Exactly. It's like the fact that it was so silly. I think that's why like because I never really got into it, so I never really knew how silly it was. You know what I mean?
It's definitely absurd. It's like when they kind of, this is a little bit of a different topic, but Pride FC was like an old fighting company back in Japan.
Mm.
They were around for a while. They were like the UFC of today, basically. I'm sorry, the UFC of 2003.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the way that they are today. They were actually back then bigger than the UFC is now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I mean, I think that the thing that obviously the UFC has now is like streaming and like sponsorships, deals, whatever.
Yeah.
So, you know, they might be bigger in the sense of like more outreach now. But like if you were to kind of compare the two, like the numbers for general viewership for Pride FC is higher than general like Paramount Plus, and then before that pay-per-views for UFC now. Whatever. The point is, freaking Pride FC, they would have these fucking gimme fights where they would bring in this like 7 foot, 430-pound man to take on this 130-pound, 5'3" fucking dude, and the guy would just get annihilated, like he just gets stomped on or whatever. Fucking
That's fucked up.
He's done. Like they would allow soccer kicks and everything. You could soccer kick your opponent. It was insane. And then Pride FC didn't run this, but there was another MMA promotion where I guess these two girls, it was in like Russia or it was a European. These two girls and one guy were in a cage to fight against each other. You can look this up.
What the fuck, man?
I'm gonna see if I can find this clip and maybe I'll link it in the bio. So that way you guys can fucking be like, oh my god, this is crazy. But they literally went at him, and then he threw the biggest left hand towards this woman and freaking yes, she like legs up in the air, dude, and everything. It was damn. And I was watching it. I'm like, this is like, these are gimme fights, you know what I mean? I'm not condoning domestic violence or anything. It's just crazy, it's just a crazy thing, you know? Just like I don't condone, midget violence. Can you even say that? You can't say midget.
I think, dude,
dwarf violence?
I don't even know the official, like...
Small people violence.
Something like that.
You don't want to get in trouble for saying midget.
Dude, because I was going to say little person, but I think little person is also not... I think it's also offensive. I could be wrong. Like, I literally saw this one... I literally saw one show about, like, little people when I was a kid, and that was what it was... I think it was called Little People. So,
really?
Yeah.
People... It's funny because, like, people will tell me I look like a Nazi with this haircut.
That's crazy.
I don't take it personally. You want to know why? Because I look like a Nazi with this haircut. If you look like a little person, then fucking, eat it and fucking move on. I'm sorry. If you're under 4 feet, you're a small guy. You just...
I guess there really shouldn't be much wrong with that.
You shouldn't be upset about that. You know what I mean? If I was born with no legs, I wouldn't tell you a story about how I competed in this marathon and I was running and everything. You wouldn't believe me. It's like you can't pretend to be something you're not. Yeah, and I think we live so much in a world of people who are kind of just pretending to be something they aren't. And I'm not talking about, because I'm not going to get into any of this, but I'm not talking about LGBTQ or transgender community. I'm not talking about really any of that. Yeah. It goes deeper than that. Like, people from a personality, morality, spiritual standpoint, they kind of, including myself at certain points, you kind of feel like you need to be something else for the time. You know what I mean? Because maybe a problem has arisen or just a new chapter in your life. And you're like, this is a new chapter. Yeah. One day you wake up and you see it all. Whatever the case may be, you feel like you have to change for whatever reason. And I think we live in a time where that is so, like, go-to. You know what I mean? Where it's like, how can I change for this circumstance or this situation?
I think, honestly, dude, if I'm being fully honest, I think I've had that. Like, obviously, everyone wants to kind of fit in, right? So you want to be accepted within whatever group that you're in. For the most part.
Waiting for fucking mine, Liam. Jesus. I'm joking.
But I think, like, when it comes to, like, I was bullied as a kid, and I think that made me kind of, like, naturally want my own kind of space. Like, I want... Like, not that I don't want to fit in, because I do. Like, I think everyone inherently, for human reasons, for social, everyone is a social creature, right?
Right.
But I don't really care to, like, assimilate to a mold, because I feel like there's this point where you're kind of giving up your own personality and autonomy by doing stuff like that.
Yes.
And like,
yes,
I feel like people are just so willing to do that just so no one gives them shit, you know?
yes.
And it's like, I would rather someone hate me because I am doing my own thing than sacrifice what I am doing and what I can do for the normality or whatever, you know what I mean?
I agree with you 100%. Like I feel like a lot of people they change for that virality, and they impact their own creative flow to kind of go along with the time, and then they also like make really irrational decisions that usually aren't the right ones.
Yeah.
I once met a guy. It's actually funny. I was thinking about this a couple days ago. I asked. We were talking about fitting in, and he was like, "I don't fit in with people. People fit in with me."
What?
That's what I mean. It's like, it sounds ridiculous, but this is like genuinely how he thinks. He wants people to live up to his standard, which is a cute way to think, but you're still missing the mark. You're not supposed to think about people in general. You're supposed to be able to know, and I'm being serious. Like, if you want to do something for yourself, and you want to put something together for yourself, it's got to be you and what you want to do first.
Yeah, yeah.
And then people follow. Like you were just saying, you want to create something for you, and then people follow. Yeah. You can't, if you so desperately want somebody's validation, you're wasting your time. Yeah, if you so desperately want yourself to validate other people, you're wasting your time. Yeah. Because you're involved with people in that regard. You're basing your decisions off of their validation. Now, if I come out and I say something crude and arrogant and crazy, and everybody blows up over it, okay, maybe there's a podium and I'll apologize. You know what I mean? I get that. Yeah. But I mean more along the lines of like, things that aren't as big of a deal. You know what I mean? Where it's like nobody really thought about it, and then all of a sudden it kind of becomes more of a problem. Yeah. And a lot of people will change as soon as that problem is initiated. And it's like, what are you doing switching up? You were just taking this stance. Now all of a sudden you get backlash. It would be like if I said to the people, I never said that. It's like, it's on video. You know what I mean? It's on video. Like, you can clearly hear you say that. So, I don't know. We get lost in such a time, and it's important to be grateful for the time that we have because it's so limited. And, we're getting older, you especially. I mean, you're getting senior.
Yeah, no, you can tell, man.
Jesus Christ, How old are you?
I'm like creaking around. I'm 27.
Damn. 27. I couldn't even, I could have, a family of 5 by that time.
I know you could.
It's like,
just get busy, bro.
That's right. Come on. I'm going to have one bad year, but I think it'll be fine from there on out. But yeah, all right. But no, on a real note, like, I feel like, it's important for us to enjoy the space, enjoy the time, and be grateful for it, and not get caught up in what other people say, but more in what you want to do, which you've made very clear during this whole podcast. Is the basis of your business. Is like, how can I perfect something so that way it looks really, really good, and I can give it to somebody knowing it looks good. And it's like, I take pride in both those things.
I feel like the term perfected is it's like tough, because in my mind it's perfected, but I feel like what I really mean is like well polished. Like, as long as something is well polished enough to where there really aren't any major issues and I like it, like, those are just the two things that I have to admit. Like, do I like this? And is there any part of this that when I look at it, I feel bad? Like, if I can remove every spot that I feel like has any flaw to it in my heart, and, people could hate it or love it after that. I mean, there is no perfect, you know what I mean? But, like, as soon as all that is gone, then that's when I know I can release it. That's when I know I'm right. But when I look at something and I say, something is kind of wrong here, if I just let that slide, then I will eventually feel bad and regret it. But yeah, like, otherwise, like, again, like, perfect was the wrong term for me to use. But yeah, now I know, like, I work on something until I feel really good about it.
Right. Well, and I'm happy that you do, because it's like, it brings, actual validity to your product, It'd be shitty of you if you sat in here and you're like, Jacob, I really don't think about what I do. You know what I mean? I just kind of, put my pencil to paper, and then that's what I send out, you know what I mean?
And, sometimes I do have a bit of a flow to it, but I do try and think about what I do for the most part, especially in, like, after the initial drawing. Like, I try and frame it right and color it right and make sure the lines are all exactly the way I wanted and all that. And we're back. So yeah, we unfortunately had a recording error, and
Liam's fault.
It's all my fault.
I don't want to throw shade.
I jinxed it.
I did that quick too. I threw you under the bus like that, man. Like, wow. No,
we're gonna have to renegotiate my contract.
Yeah, this is true. We're gonna have to. Jacob screwing up on the first episode, like.
But we were talking about creative flow. I think.
Yes.
And like I forget what exactly we were talking about, but I was saying something along the lines of like you were, I don't know, something you were doing was figuring out your ideas. So basically, creative flow is a funny concept because I think you were saying that like we were talking about like intentional versus like just going and like not thinking.
Right.
And it's like sometimes there is a value to doing something without necessarily having to like think about it too much and just kind of letting your natural, I almost let it like, let's call it like your creativity guiding you. It's like you just let whatever, like, because my stuff is so abstract, right? Like there's a lot of the times where like I'll kind of just let my first thought, whatever jumps into my head, I'll just draw in that shape. And then I kind of use that drawing, like that shape, I kind of draw around that and then use that. So like there's just a lot of stuff where like I feel like spontaneous thinking and not really worrying too much about like what comes next, just kind of like doing whatever jumps in your head can be really advantageous. Granted, my most recent artwork, I challenged myself to not draw anything abstract. Like everything I was drawing was like absolutely a physical thing that's real. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I feel like that challenge really kind of broadened the way I do art, and I really want to do that more, to the point where like I'm mostly drawing real things with like little details being abstract and kind of pattern like. But that's kind of what I want to kind of move my direction in more so, is like draw like more like landscapes and like real tangible things, you know.
I like that creative thing you said. Like when you start to draw, you kind of let your creativity guide you, and you start just drawing whatever the first thing that pops into your head. I think that that's so familiar for me because, you know, in podcasting, in general conversation, it's pretty much the same way. Like you really don't know where it's gonna go. A lot of times, like, you know me, like I'll joke around and stuff like that, just throw a thought out there and just see who bites or see the reaction, you know.
It's like following the thread, kind of.
Right.
Go wherever it's going, you know.
And it's nice too because like with art, you can kind of create something that you want. The difference is in like conversation, it might not be what you, you know what I mean? It might not be what you thought it was gonna happen.
Well, it's
the
same thing with art too. Like sometimes you just make mistakes.
True,
and, like,
yeah.
When I draw, I like to draw in pen because I'm a weirdo. But like it's just the way that, it's just what I started doing, and it's the most satisfying to me right now. So I draw in pen, and then there's always times where like I kind of mess up, or like sometimes I'll like draw over the line, or like kind of, you know, I'll be like, oh well, I know which one I wanted to draw because one is fucked up and one is like one is in the correct place and one is not.
Right.
So,
yeah.
But there's always times where like I kind of have to like cut out a part in post, or like kind of redo it just digitally and like reinvent the area. But I feel like that shit kind of always happens no matter what project you're doing. That's why editing exists for podcasts.
Right.
But yeah, I mean,
you know, absolutely, I agree with you, and I think that when it comes to your like drawings and you putting out your art and everything like that, a lot of times what happens is you put it out and you think it's great at the time. Maybe you look back on it like a year or two later and you're like, oh yeah. And you've told me several times where you've expressed that, whether you put out like a certain, you know, clothing or you know, even a certain drawing or art piece, whatever. You know, you put it out in 2023. Now it's 2026. You might look at it and you're like, whoa, you know what I mean? Like that was not what was I thinking when I was making that. So how often does that happen in your creative process?
Like it's funny that you say that because I feel like recently I've gotten to the point where like, man, I've been doing this for a while, so I feel like I've kind of not gotten burnt out in a way, but I've gotten like jaded to the idea of like having to always post and like be relevant in any way on social media. So I've kind of just gotten to the point where I'm like, all right, I'm going to go out and do real in-person shows. I'm going to make real connections with real people, and that's how I'm going to mostly move my art. Granted, I'm not like opposed to being social media, whatever, but that being said, like, I don't have to feel rushed. Like, I
Right.
don't have to feel like I need to get this out or like I need to do something or whatever. There's only like the excited part of me that I want to share it with someone else. You know what I mean? Like, that's what's fun for me is like showing like people that I know and close with, like, oh my god, look at this cool thing that I did.
Rather than the social media reward of like, oh yeah, you know,
Just
because like a
getting
lot of
those
times
attention.
if you post so consistently,
Mhm.
you may get a hit.
Yeah.
But it's like not nearly like the high of, you know, you get off your own work potentially, or showing
Yeah.
people that have been supporting you are like, oh yeah, like I've seen this art piece, but this is the best one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like people close to you, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's like, dude, it's almost impossible for me to like pop off on social media in general without paying for it, because I really genuinely feel like Instagram at least is. Might be a conspiracy, but I feel like Instagram looks on my account like a business account because I've spent money on ads and I consistently have, and I feel like the algorithm is falling off for photos in general. Like, you gotta move to videos, and there's just a whole bunch of shit where like my content is not favored by the Instagram algorithm, so there's really no way for me to like just overnight pop off without getting either like extremely lucky or probably paying a ton of money. And it's just like, I don't know, like, I'm not gonna play my whole game around that. I'm not gonna waste energy trying to just hope that something happens like that. I'm gonna go on reliable routes,
Right.
which is like, as I said, like in-person stuff where like I can actually guarantee that the person that I'm looking at is actually like getting a closer connection to my art, and you know, like, actually I can talk to them and they can see me and they can understand maybe a little bit more about what I'm doing. Or I don't know, the internet just has really turned me off lately in terms of like my desire to create for the internet. You know, I just want to create for myself and for those who exist around me, and to build some sense of like local community too. My values have been shifting, you know. But to answer the question, I'm fucking trailing off here.
No, you're good. I was actually gonna say the community aspect, like, that's one thing that I think that the internet kind of forgets about. You know what I mean? Obviously, because there's so many people on it from different parts.
Yeah.
And that has its great parts, because like you can meet and engage with people from, you know, who do the same thing, maybe from a completely different part of the country or the state, whatever.
Yeah.
You can kind of riff with them, whatever. But, you know, there is a sense of building community within what you're doing that creates more of a passion project.
Yeah.
Whereas if you hustle culture it, like if you go out and you post 100 videos a day on your YouTube channel, 100, there are YouTubers who will do that. You know what I mean? Seriously, like because I think they pay you a certain amount per 1,000 views. So if I make 100 videos and they all get 1,000 views, then that $2 and whatever cents per 1,000 views turns into, I can't do math, but you know, a lot of money, a lot of money. So like, but the point is like, you don't want to hustle culture, because it's clear that YouTuber is just trying to make it like, you know, financially, really.
Yeah.
You know, if you're uploading so much, you don't upload so much, I feel like, to promote. I feel like if you're uploading consistently like that, like a lot a day, you are trying to get more general viewership, but also in you want money out of it, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like that's just a main driving factor behind this hustle culture that we have on the internet. You know what I mean? I mean, like, post 100 videos a day. How hard can it be? Like, come on, man.
So I'll say two things. One, 100. Well, this is getting into technicalities, but there's actually a maximum that you should be posting in a day. Like, if you post too much, the algorithm will also say just go fuck yourself. Like, so they won't take the videos down, but they will stop. They'll stockpile them and then upload them at the right time that they should do. Like, maybe someone will record like 10 videos in a day, right? But they might only post one every 1 to 2 days. That's like... So you can't technically post 100 videos a day. Well, if you wanted to, I mean, it'd be a lot to upload too at the same time. Like, that's what I heard the numbers of this guy was. Like, he had 2 channels. Between both the channels, he uploaded 100. That's what he was claiming. It's possible, I guess. But the algorithm would just be turned off to you. Like, what is he... Like, he's posting, like... I mean, if that's he's creating YouTube, like... There's, like, a political commentator I know that posts, like, maybe, like, 5 videos a day sometimes. But... That's like from what I understand from the algorithm, there's a way to post too much, at least on certain places like Instagram and stuff. So yeah, that's one thing. Another thing is like, man, there is just like, okay, so we'll get into like my, when I break into my politics a little bit, but like I feel that capitalism is something that inspires kind of. Okay, so the way that our society works, in my mind, like I think we were talking about this a bit when we were recording last time, but like the fact that there's no really, there's no real third spaces for people, like for communities to really organize and do their thing and just be people without needing money or needing, capital to either keep the thing open or anything like that. So like everything is tied to money inherently. And I feel like that bleeds into people. And the reason why everyone is doing things, it's either for like direct pleasure or money for the most part. And it's like, I mean, obviously at the end of the day, that is out of necessity. That is out of survival.
Like
right?
a validation type of thing, right?
I don't think it's, personally, I don't think it's validation.
For like the personal thing you said earlier, like what they want something personally for themselves. Like when they want to validate themselves in a sense, like, oh, I got this, like, that direct pleasure you were talking about.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's definitely part of it. Like, like people, like, why do people do drugs? For the direct pleasure, the dopamine, the chemical stuff, right? But like, why do people make YouTube videos, like, in that sense of like, grinding, get as much money as possible? It's purely just because the society that we're in functions in a way where people value money, because money not only equals survivability, but it equals power. So there's like, it goes beyond, oh, can you just eat today? It's like, well, can I not have to work again in my life? You know what I mean? It's like, there's a lot that comes with it. And I feel like, especially as a kid, I was perfect for, not perfect for it, but I was like extremely vulnerable to it, because like, I imagined a future where I could just do YouTube every day and I wouldn't have to really worry about my college career or my career.
Right,
you know what I mean? Because I didn't feel inspired by college. I didn't feel inspired by the traditional American lifestyle of like going and working an office job or working a physical labor job or working like, just doing something that was boring and uninspiring to me, right?
Right.
And so as a kid, I was really pushed into the idea of naturally, because of out of what I had experienced in my life, like that I could do this thing that would make me independent, that would make me money, that would make me, famous as well. Like, like just the traditional like popular YouTuber, the results of that, hundreds of thousands of dollars in revenue, you know what I mean?
Yeah, every person I feel like had that 16, 17-year-old.
Yeah, bro. And I was 13 with this. I was like 12, 13.
You were early on.
Literally, bro, I was on YouTube uploading videos when AdSense was first allowed for gamers. And I was like, really? Oh my god, gamers can upload content and like they can make money off of it. I was like, wow. So I was like in that shit in the beginning, and yeah, I was a little kid, so I didn't really know what I was doing, and it was it was funny, but it was just one of those things where like, yeah, ever since the beginning, that's been a factor on me, and so you can see it affects everybody. It affects the way that the system operates, and so it affects the people who are making content, because the system is going to favor certain things. So even if you're someone who ethically does not want to partake in this, you have to play the game to some degree. You just can't really avoid it if you're going to be partaking in that system. So clickbait, rage bait, people will use that as a tool because there's not really a lot of other choices. Like, people will make their title and their thumbnail completely different from what they're really saying in the video.
Like a clickbait tag.
Just because they know there's little chance for you to get a successful video otherwise.
That's happened so many times that there's actually there's a word for it. It's clickbait merchant. And it's like the fact that they created a term for it goes to show you how much of a problem it's become. Yeah, and like good, real, like really good, really like thoughtful video essayists I watch will do that because
again, they gotta play the game. Like everyone has to kind of partake in it, and so it's at the point where like I don't even get mad at it anymore unless it's like absolutely like because I consider it tongue in cheek when I know someone's real perspective on something and they're like, oh, this is horrible, you know, like I can read through it usually with the people that I follow and like, but like, you know, like obviously if you're completely false advertising, whatever, like I don't know, it's just like. It's just as I said, it's a result of the it's a result of the system. The system creates these things by creating the boundaries for which you can do the thing. You know, like that's just the way that I see it. So going back to what we were talking about, like I don't know, I really do feel like that is what causes that's just what causes that. That's just what causes people to act like that. And
what you said earlier, that capitalist thing, I'm gonna touch on it a little bit because I agree with you completely, but the way I look at it might be a little bit different. So I think all countries, no matter what country you live in, you need money. That's just what it is. Yeah, it's just about how these countries spend it. So you have like a China, a very communist country, everybody's in strict form, government's up here, people are all equal down here, right? Yeah. But the money's shared equally, and China's debt isn't crazy high like the United States. Yeah. What capitalism promotes, seemingly, and maybe it might just be here, because we are selfish people. I mean, like me included, like everybody's been selfish at one point, trying to get the bag, whatever. But like from a capitalist type of standpoint, we're much more likely to sink ourselves, like in debt. Into problems. I mean, like, look at the way they hand out credit cards in our capitalist. You think they're doing that shit in China? No way. You know what I mean? Look at the way that they hand out loans and just overall products, and look at advertising here. Like, okay, advertising in Japan, in China, like if you get a cookie bag, the cookie on the side, the picture of the cookie is the actual size of the cookie in the bag. Whereas here, you know what I mean? You pick up Cheez-Its, you're like, I just got fucking ripped off. If you came from Japan or China and you bought something from the store here, dude, you feel like a freaking dummy. You're like, what am I doing? You know? So like, I think that it lends itself to like, you know, what kind of culture we are, yes, but also how we spend our money. And I think that, you know, capitalism does promote a lot of debt and does promote a lot of issues. Now, do I think that we would do better as a communist economy? No, I don't, because I think we've been I mean, there's a lot of things about communism that just doesn't work that we don't have time for here. But like beyond that, we've been so driven in this capitalist mindset and trying to conform everybody to a communist like type of vibe or economy would just not work in any real regard. So I do agree with you. The capitalism does. It's about promotion. It's about what looks good rather than what is good. You know what I mean? A lot of capitalism isn't that, but a lot of capitalists and what they do, including ourselves, because we are in a capitalist society, there is a part of us that is capitalist to an extent. Just like we have to trust third parties to an extent.
I feel like that is something that is often not necessarily overlooked, but you got to think about it, the fact that people consider America capitalist, you know, China communist. There are elements of capitalism in both countries, and there's elements. Okay, so off the top of my head, I can't remember. Okay, y'all, I might seem stupid for this, but I can't necessarily remember if socialism is necessarily the same factor as like if it functions in the way as communism. So the way that I see things, is like America is capitalist, but we have socialist policy, right?
Right.
And some of those, we have elements of both. And I think most governments, if you look at the way that their actual policies operate and the literal definitions of capitalism, socialism, all that, you'll see that almost every government has these things.
Right.
It's just certain governments lean more into certain areas of them. And I feel like it's very common to just label China communist because, you know, like, that's just, you know.
I think you take the majority of what something is, and that's the label. Which it shouldn't always be the case, But if you want to get good at identification with countries and where their motives are going, I mean, we really don't know right now. We just invaded Iran out of fucking nowhere, so we don't know what we're
breaking. That's breaking since our last podcast. But.
That is true. That is true because there was that should be made clear when we hop back into the seats.
That's about a week in break. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. In that week, we went to war in that time. Like it took 7 days.
And so yeah. But that is my idea of like. We can hybrid these systems to the point where like things make sense and we can still live our lives like you said, like we don't transition to a different entire living structure and like, you know, we can still buy a house, you know, but we do things to help the people that because I think with capitalism a lot of things fall through the cracks and I think a lot of people suffer as of that. And so it also as we were talking about with YouTube and social media, it incentivizes certain behaviors and it like only really incentivizes certain behaviors.
Right,
you know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
And I feel like it operates in a way that deteriorates at like what people would actually want to see in reality in certain spaces. Like my example is Twitter, in some degree YouTube, and I can explain why too, because algorithms are an invention that only exist really from corporations, right? Like there would not be a social media algorithm without corporate takeover of platforms that are, you know, basically ran by creatives but compromised by a corporate structure, right?
Right.
YouTube, when I was a kid, and as I said, like linking back to the story I was just talking about, as a kid, I loved the idea you could make money off your videos. Like that was awesome. That was like a liberating thing for me, right?
Right.
Granted, what I didn't see about that is that would transform not only the landscape of YouTube, but like, so one of my favorite things about YouTube was the idea that you could upload a video, and if you knew what was popping, and if you knew like what was, you know, if you knew what was trendy, if you knew all that stuff, and you could basically just get your videos into the right space. And as a 13-year-old, I was uploading videos that would get 13,000+ views.
Right.
I was finding my way into the right spots because I played Minecraft. I would upload like Minecraft videos. That shit would go crazy.
Right.
And like, I have no like, you know, obviously like that's like a cheat code or whatever, like, you know, some bullshit. But like at the end of the day, I was just a kid out there making content and it was stupid and it was bad, but people would come across it and they would see it and they would interact with it. And like, you didn't have to be some crazy superstar. You didn't have to have this crazy reach on social media to get something that would just kind of go viral every once in a while. And it felt like you were part of like a real community of people, and like the internet felt like a real space for people. Like Twitter as well. Basically, it was a space for me where I would just follow artists, then artists would repost other artists, and then I got this whole library of real talented people working at all these companies like Cartoon Network and just YouTube, just random YouTube animators, and just like people who were all interconnected within the artist community. It showed me.
That's interesting.
It showed me what I could do as an artist. Like it showed me all these avenues that were really available for people. Like illustrators, people who just draw all day and that's just what they do. And like all like so much stuff that really fueled my creative drive, you know?
Right. Especially seeing all these other people in those spots, you know, like a YouTube creator, you being a YouTube creator, you're looking at something that's more like stationary, like you can actually settle into a job like that, like an animator of some sort, or like an animator for Cartoon Network, dude. Do you know how much those guys are probably making? You know what I mean? It's like you could look at that and be like, what did I just say? How much they're making? It's that capitalist, right? It's that's the first thing you think of is like that liberty and you know, what can I move into? What job can I move into that would, you know, help me create my artistic expression?
I'm not sure if Cartoon Network even something happened with their studio where like they fired a lot of people. And that's again like that capitalist aspect where it's like I don't know if you follow the gaming industry recently, but so many gaming industries, like so many companies within the gaming industry, including Xbox, bro. Xbox is looking bad for Xbox right now.
Really?
Yeah,
it's looking bad. Is this a real thing? Because I'm 8 years out of the game, so I haven't.
Yeah. This is like a lot of gaming, like a lot of
Xbox are down bad. Unfortunately,
there are games that come out and then close down within months they fire a bunch of their staff, and then the company either goes under or they shut down a live service game that they just advertised 3 months ago. You know what I mean? Like,
Okay.
a lot of games are getting to this point where, like, all these companies are pouring in massive amounts of money into these things, and not only are the employees being underpaid and underserved and then getting laid off at the end of it, but, like, the people who are buying these products are buying a product that's not even going to exist in 3 months.
Right.
Like, they're making these online games, these multiplayer games, and then they're just completely dismantling them because they didn't make enough money off of however million they invested. And then there's real people, individual people making games that are popping off, and they're just making a ton of money off of such a minimal budget, and they're just living great lives because they're a person. They're not a company making a game. They're a person.
Do you think that Xbox specifically is going to file bankruptcy within the next, 5-10 years? You think?
No, but I do think that, like, from what I understand, the lead of the company left, and
he said, "Fuck it,
I'm
out."
Dude.
His
name is Phil Spencer. I don't keep a lot of track of this sector of gaming, but
right.
But Phil Spencer left the company after something like just, I don't know, 40 years or 20 years or some shit. He's been there for a long time, and then he just bailed, and then some woman who's basically just she's only had experience in AI development. That she is coming to the head of the team. No one has any faith. People do not want generative AI in games. People don't want people to get laid off.
Yeah,
who are great developers and great artists and great 3D animators and great all these people who have been in the industry for so long, and they're just gonna get laid off in replacement for AI, and it's gonna be shitty. No one's gonna like the product.
The AI thing. Let's just make this clear. I am gonna be against AI for as long as I can until I have to conform into it. Because one day we might. But
who knows?
For right now, I just can't get with it. Like, you see videos on in Instagram or YouTube that are clearly AI, right? And you can tell just by even the way they talk, it's like a huge echo from the majority of the people, and you know what I mean, in a closed room, but it's also beyond that. It takes away the creative expression that other people can put. And AI, I don't care what you think or how much you've studied it, he just generally is not as creative as people, because people created AI. You know what I mean? It's like, it's one of those things where it ruins the quality of work. You take away jobs from people who actually need it.
It steals from the people who have made that work for years, and it doesn't ask.
Successfully, too.
You cannot, there was no consent for any of, my art to be scraped by AI, and it probably all has at this point. Every social media platform has sold out to these companies. Every major platform, and even if they haven't, companies have done it probably illegally. They probably just, they could, because it's accessible online. Okay, so let me just pivot back real quick to something I was saying before. So these spaces like YouTube and Twitter, so Google introduced the YouTube algorithm in 2013, 14, 12, somewhere along those lines. They introduced the algorithm, right? The algorithm basically took it from where, instead of seeing chronologically what was being posted on your YouTube homepage and getting some recommendations on videos, pretty much everyone you subscribe to, no matter what, subscriptions were supposed to be, oh, I'm going to see this person's videos all the time because I want to see them, right?
Right.
That became kind of oh, you subscribe to them, maybe you'll see them. I don't know. Do you watch them a lot recently? If you don't, then you're probably not going to see them at all.
Right.
So basically the algorithm took it from it basically is a money maximizing machine for Google. And it became adopted by literally every social media platform that exists.
Right.
And it's that shit just bothers me so much, because there was an internet at one point where you could see what your friends were actually doing, where you could actually see the people that you chose to follow,
right.
Where you could actually instead of having to get notifications for every post from someone that's kind of just stupid, it's just so annoying.
Yeah.
It's there's these alternatives where they're oh, click the bell or whatever, but it's just dude, I miss that shit.
Right.
I miss the way it used to work.
Where it was like more old-fashioned and show you what you'd want to see rather than what you've been seeing.
And there's like special feeds you can do, and it's like, dude, I just want it to like. It's just so predatory because like literally, and I don't know, predatory might be a harsh word, but at the end of the day,
that does seem a little extreme. I do get what you're saying. I think they're trying to lend themselves and help you, quote unquote. But are they really? You know what I mean?
It's just like it silences a lot of people like me who were just creating random ass videos and doing his own thing, and like eventually, you know, like I didn't have to worry about posting every single fucking day.
I see what you're saying.
Like that shit literally is. It just feels soul sucking to have to feel like you're on a treadmill of like I do this over and over and over, and I find ways to like always just do something different. It's like, what if I just want to do the same old fucking thing?
Right.
What if I want to just be myself? You know?
Exactly.
Like
and have the people who've subscribed to me see that.
Yeah.
Rather than see, you know, I've been watching Joe for like 3 days and they're gonna give me that, even though I've been subscribed to your channel for longer.
They will literally, if you watch someone's videos and you watch 5 of them in a row, there's 100% guarantee that person will hop back in your in your feed, like probably like for the next week.
Really?
Even if you don't press subscribe on them, YouTube's gonna be like, oh, we read that pattern, we saw that you did that, so we're gonna track that basically and replicate it because we know that you probably want to go see that again, don't you?
Right.
And like, it's just weird, you know what I mean? It's like it analyzes your behavior in a way like maybe you're just doing a one-off thing and you don't want to see these videos all the time, but you're doing research on something and like, but then like, you know, there's like reasons why it shouldn't be like this, and yet because capitalism is and capital is the ultimate pursuit for these companies.
Right.
That is what is going to be pursued, and that's what's going to shape the structure and the operation of everything we have in the society.
Right.
And it's like the internet was you know, I don't know, a safe haven of this for the longest time because corporations really didn't figure out their way into it. They didn't really understand how to make their money off of it, so they didn't really mess with it for the most part. Like it was just
if you can't maximize something, it's useless. Like
if you can't make it your efficient little machine, then yeah. But like now that they've easily done that, it's like the internet has become only that. It's just a bunch of advertisements, people trying to sell you shit,
right?
And not that it didn't exist in the past, but like it didn't consume. It didn't feel like it was consuming everything, you know.
I do appreciate, and I should make this clear because I agree with you about the YouTube thing. I think that Instagram obviously does the same type of thing.
Yeah, all
Facebook
platforms,
all
TikTok.
Social medias do. I do appreciate YouTube for still allowing an open platform as much as it can.
It has options that will circumvent these things for the most part. Apparently there's a feed, which I didn't even know about until 2 weeks ago, that you could click on and be like, oh, this is an actual chronological feed of the people you subscribe to, like back in the day.
Right. And I like that too because it's like you can kind of see different variations that YouTube's trying to throw in.
Yeah.
And again, most of their platform, I mean, I don't know about the demonetization aspect of YouTube too much. Like, I understand it. I know that there are a lot of YouTubers who have posted certain things that may not be considered favorable, but it's opinionated.
It's a bit of a drama sphere.
Exactly.
So,
and you just get taken off randomly even though you had an opinion. I've seen YouTube do stuff like that, but they haven't done it enough. I'm not saying enough, but like, you know, they haven't done it to the point where at least I've seen it, it's become an outright problem.
Yeah,
and that's one thing that I'm happy that YouTube, but that's Instagram and Facebook, they take shit down like clockwork, dude. Like clockwork, you know?
I think YouTube is actually probably one of the best platforms out there in regards to these problems, simply because they, like you said, they have options to get around that sort of thing. And they also, they genuinely have a good base of creators who are making good money and making good content, and there's still a lot of quality on there. There's still a lot of people who really care, and you know, YouTube has a beneficial, you know, kind of like you know, you make me money, I'm not gonna fuck with you, you know what I mean? And so it's like, I just feel like people, like, I don't know, it's not that I'm like necessarily bitching and whining that I don't get views, because I don't really care that much. But I just care about the fact that it affects creators as a whole, especially smaller creators who don't really want to make like just drama videos or like things that are tapping into like current political, like clickbaiting on current political topics.
Right. What does this guy think? Right.
Yeah, and it's like I like the idea that you can just get something that someone was just super creative with, and they just decided to make something super abstract and different and random, which does appear on my algorithm sometimes. Like the algorithm is for all that I say about it, it has improved over the years, and you know, smaller creators do get their space. Like they do actually appear in the algorithm. They get you know, boosted in certain ways. But you know, it is what it is. I just wish it didn't exist because that's just, you know, the internet that I loved as a kid, and especially for like Twitter and stuff. Twitter is like you know, I'll talk about Twitter too because like, you know, the people who originally owned Twitter, they seem to really care about the platform. They seem to actually really be invested in the growth of the platform and people actually, you know, and you know, stopping hate speech to some degree. Elon Musk took the platform, bought it for like, I don't even know,
44 billion.
Yeah, so he's again like 44 billion. Elon is also the richest person on the planet as far as I'm concerned, right?
Except for the Saudis. We don't want to mess with you guys.
I think Elon Musk might be the richest person on the planet.
I don't know. That Saudi Arabian money, they're talking like, you're talking potentially trillionaires.
I might be talking on my ass right now, but I swear it's...
Well, no, he is technically on Google, and like if you look it up, he will be the richest person.
Yeah,
but those Saudi reports that come out, I mean, I've never seen them, but from what I hear, they put their net worth and how much they make at way less than you would think somebody would have if they have like 300 supercars, 12 mansions, you know what I mean? Like, there's no way you're only making $20 million off. It's just not a thing, you know?
I mean, it could be more of a, I don't know. I don't know how it works. All I know is I've heard that Elon's the richest man in the world. That's all I'm saying.
Right.
But yeah, no, I think he's an asshole. I personally don't like him. And again, like, I'm a, you know, like, I would consider myself a democratic socialist. Right. Again, like, I'm not trying to get politics into this shit, really, but...
Don't worry, I'm going to label this video the war with Iran. People are getting so confused.
It frustrates me because these are things that I feel like the whole capitalist thing and the whole, like, fucking, just the way that shit works online and all my gripes with this, they do not come from a place of, like, trying to be politically aligned with anything.
Right.
I just feel like these things are ending up affecting people in ways that people don't really talk about because people are making a shit ton of money and maybe there's an opportunity for others to make money, and it's like, again, like the focus being on money, I think is the problem, and that's what's causing the platform to operate in these ways. And again, like some people might not see it as that big of an issue, but personally, I just wish there was more, you know, I just wish there was just more support for everyone to kind of exist in this space without it always having to be about money, you know?
Do you think it's hard for people to have a voice if there's opposition? Because it seems like, you know, with the internet, we're so divided, and I mean, as a country, we're divided enough, but on the internet especially, it's like everybody has an opinion about something. Yeah. Whatever you think, somebody's going to think the exact opposite of. Yeah. And I think that...
Well, this actually connects perfectly.
Yeah, that type of communication, it really jades a conversation that two people can have, you know what I mean?
I think, so going back to these algorithms too, like that, and combined with what you just said, what has been popping online is rage bait. What has been popping online is divisive content that will basically, for the most part, it's usually content that splits people apart, that makes people argue, that gets people riled up, because engagement is all they care about. They don't care about people actually getting content that is good, that is interesting, that is entertaining. They're focusing on the numbers, on the money, and that is maximized when people are just on their phone angry all the time.
Right.
And that's what they figured out in the past, like, maybe like 5 years or so. So, and online, I feel like politics has been not only blasted in your face all the time because of rage bait, because they realize their ultimate group is, like, their ultimate target for money making is pissing people off about political problems.
Right.
And on top of that, I don't know if you have heard about this, but Twitter had a thing where I refuse to call that shit X.
Yeah, I can tell. So I was gonna jokingly correct you, but I was like, no, he's in his own zone. He won't ever say
it. Twitter did a thing recently where they actually they posted people's geolocation for where their profiles were created in, and so a lot of people from like fucking just random places in India are like owning these pages that are like America First and shit like that. And it's like, that is real, bro.
That's hilarious.
And like
that's hilarious.
There's a Facebook page that I would follow for memes, right? I followed them for memes. They posted funny screenshots. That was just all it was. It was just stupid fucking funny screenshots.
Right.
And so they randomly they started doing politics here and there, and I noticed they would post both left and right politics, and I'm like, whatever, obviously free speech, whatever, I don't give a fuck. But they got to the point where all they were posting was politics. Their page didn't really exist for the reason that it ended up existing. And I found out that people were only based in New Zealand. And so they basically were posting extreme left, extreme right, extreme left, extreme right. And they were just making bread off people.
Right.
And I got pissed. And I'm just like, fuck you guys.
Because they're not even from the country.
Yeah, exactly. It's not like they're actually voicing opinions that like, that have any sort of basis in actual reality in America. They're just talking fucking shit. They're just getting their bag, and that's
like me posting like, man, the UK's economy is dog shit. It's like, dude, you're in Connecticut. Like, what are you talking about?
And that's the thing, you can have an opinion about the UK and their politics,
right.
But if you're running a fucking engagement farm based upon UK politics, you're exploiting UK politics.
Yeah,
like, that's just the way it works.
That is true.
Yeah, you can voice your opinion on it. It doesn't fucking matter. But if again, the engagement farm for money, if
I was running a page like that for the purposes of,
and that's what it shouts to me. That's what it shouts to me, and it's like I just hate shit like that, because again, it's being driven by me need money, me want money, and it's just making shit worse, and like that's just. And I don't know.
I feel like rage bait's always been a thing, kind of going back to that. Like,
definitely.
In the 80s and 90s, I'm sure kids would fucking, bully the hell out of each other. It's all moved now to a public platform where you can do it online and the guy doesn't have to know who you are. Like,
it's not even it's not even about bullying though. It's just about like the way that like okay, so I personally think that when stuff like this happens, it creates actual problems within community. Like when the internet when everyone's online and everyone's got their head in their fucking phone, which, whatever, phones are, they are the way they are.
Right.
But like when even the oldest people that are just probably on Facebook all day, just looking at shit, and you realize that like half the shit online isn't really real. Half the people online probably aren't real.
Oh my God. Speaking of, real quick, I just want to point this out. If you have a fucking class or whatever, those sales guys that have classes and stuff like that, like I'll teach you how to live life. I don't know. I've been 24 years in. I think I'll be all right.
I feel you.
Those classes
they piss me off.
I hate those so much, because you are so clearly trying to exploit money out of people so they can show up at your fucking shit show event to listen to you talk about things you've already talked about in videos that they can just watch at home.
Yeah.
That to me, that would be like if I was like, this podcast actually took off and was all right, and I was like, hey, you guys, let's start having events and stuff like that. You guys can come meet me. It's like stuff like that. It becomes one of those things where what originally was an idea for a podcast and bringing people on and an open forum for people to talk becomes more of a money, money wanting type of thing. And to listen to me talk, which shit I've said in podcasts plenty of times before, like you can't look at that and think Jacob doesn't want money. In the same way that you can't look at like a Grant Cardone, screw you. Freaking Andy Elliott, screw you. People like that who are like a part of the hustle culture and the want, like those guys, it's so clear. Like it was funny because I was watching this guy. He was like, his name is Andy Elliott. I'll just say it right now. Screw it. You can bleep me out if you want.
I don't give a fuck.
But he is like this sales guy who teaches other sales guys how to go door to door and stuff like that and do that. And it's
because he doesn't want to go door to door, so he'll sell it to other people that they can go do it, and then they can go have a bad time.
Correct. Except for this guy in 2012 was a part of a money laundering scheme.
Oh, classic.
Of $3 million in the car business, and he literally was on his way to federal prison if he didn't pay off his fines. Like, that to me is crazy. And then you come back 10 years later, you know, you're clearly on steroids. You're fucking jacked to the gills at 45. You're like, oh yeah, it was all passion, hard work. My wife said that I was ugly, this and that. It's like, is it really any of that? Or are you just like a fucking, you know, clickbait merchant who so happened to find his way to making events happen? You know what I mean? And that's what it kind of, that's the real life clickbait merchant. You know what I mean? The person who promises you the world. You physically show up to Arizona or wherever, and you're like, dude, this is garbage. What are you talking about? So like people like that, I can't stand influencers like that.
And that's the thing about the internet. That's like the duality of man, is that like you can utilize some of these tools and be a good person. Like, but you can exploit these tools and be a horrible person.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you can like you were saying about like making like inviting people to like communities, like to like an event or whatever. If you actually made an interesting event that was worth people spending the money that you charged for, and you were bringing people together, there's nothing wrong with that. But it's like, if you make an event that's purposely there to exploit people's money, and you don't really give a fuck, and you're just doing it for the money, again, like that is the difference. Like it's but you know, all I can say is I think the system tends to promote. It just tends to have a lot of people choose the easier, more exploitive option, for that immediate gain. You know what I mean? But you know, not everyone's like that, so it's not like it affects everybody. But I mean, it affects everybody, but it doesn't necessarily change everybody into, you know, a monster or whatever.
So for you, as we kind of navigate this conversation and bring it to a little bit of a close, one thing I want to ask you, in this current content media world, where does a guy like you fit in, or do you fit in, or do you just kind of stay out of it? Because you have, rightfully so, talked about, you know, the dirty tactics of all these social media platforms and stuff like that, but what does that do for you as a creator? Like, do you just know ahead and you understand where to play, or do you kind of like stay out of it completely? You know, like where are you at with that?
So, like, I'm 27 now. I've been fucking with shit online since I was like
27.
Yeah, I do.
Jesus
when
Christ.
I was 8 years old, I would post on this site called Scratch, right?
Okay.
So I would make games and I would just post them online. So I've had so much experience with just putting shit online and just sharing it and just having fun with that. So like sometimes I just, you know, I kind of am interested now in like the offline spaces, the real life community spaces, like I was talking about. So where I fit is like, if I feel like posting online, I will. But right now, I'm kind of at that point where I'm like, I'm just going to try to pivot into just real world, again, community spaces, like merch shows, like see what that does for me. Because I think a lot of artists who are online, they make their real money doing that sort of thing. And again, like it because we're in this capitalist society, like if I want a business, I have to somehow tie it back to money. But I've seen the inconsistency of the space online. I've seen my page, I put hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars, not hundreds of thousands, but hundreds of just thousands of dollars into my page to try and get.
Yeah, I was gonna say, are you taking loans out? Like, what are you doing?
I put thousands of dollars over like 6 years into my page, to try and just get an audience, to try and do something with it, to try and get it out there, And Instagram basically represses my account like I don't have any followers, and it's like, so I'm here actually giving this company shit tons of money, but because they want me to give them more money, they're mad at me. Or they're not mad at me, but it's not even like I'm shadow banned. But like the people that are following, like if you know game and you see the numbers I'm getting, like it doesn't make sense. It's like either these are fucking bots, or the Instagram algorithm does not put me out to the people who chose to click follow. You know what I mean? And it's like, I don't fuck with that. I don't like that. I don't feel like I'm playing a fair game. I don't feel like I'm enjoying myself. I feel like I'm being exploited, and my art is being scraped by AI, and eventually there's going to be an AI influencer who just You know, like again, like this, it just feels so weird and wrong to
Right.
me to be in this space and focusing only on this space when I realize the shit that's happening. You know,
Right.
so like that's. And again, like I like platforms like YouTube just to be able to make a video and upload it and just share it with your friends. So like instead of playing the game and being a fucking mouse on like a fucking wheel, empowering their fucking, you know, and paying their bills, I am just going to sit there and only make what I want to make. I'm only going to post what I really genuinely want to post.
Right.
And that's it.
I like that. I like that real raw perspective as far as like navigating the world isn't so much you navigating, it's just kind of you being there and understanding everything that's going on, but still being you, not changing for those individual things that are happening.
Because capitalism is always going to be a factor in our society. Like, it's always going to be something that pushes the needle in the way of money, in the way of status, in the way of this and that. So, like, when I see shit like that and I realize what it's doing and what it's affecting, then I just don't want to play ball.
So, it's funny you said that, because real quick, I'll just say this. One of the things I did fairly recently, I'm not a hero. That should be made clear. I volunteered at the soup kitchen a couple times. And the reason why I did that is because one of my buddies was saying, like, you know, I work like 6-7 days a week sometimes. I work a lot.
Yeah.
But at the same time, too, I wasn't feeling as fulfilled. Now, obviously, this brings me a lot of fulfillment, doing podcasts and you know, filming and stuff like that, and engagement. That brings me a lot of fulfillment. But, like, beyond what I'm trying to build here and beyond what I'm doing at work, like what do I actually like to do, and how can I be more involved in my community? Especially like if I die tomorrow or something like that, like anything can happen, really.
Yeah.
And you don't want to be left with that one question of like, well, you know, you get up to heaven, you're like, well, you know, I tried my business, or I tried to work as hard as I could, but I couldn't really get anything off, you know.
Yeah.
You could be like, oh, well, you didn't have enough time. You died at 23, but still at the same time, what'd you do with that 23 years? You know what I'm saying? And like for me, that it didn't bring. Okay, I'm gonna be honest with you. I went there. It didn't bring me the fulfillment. I walked out, and I'm like, I should be feeling like, you know what I mean, like a hero right now. Like I just saved 3 ladies out of a burning building. You know, I didn't get any of that. But what I did get was perspective. And there are a lot of people who are way worse off than myself, yourself, anybody who's probably watching this. A lot of people who are watching this, you know. And it gives you that community building type of mindset or perspective where it's like, man, I actually want to help these people. Not for anything I get out of it because it's volunteer work, but just for the sake of doing it. And I'm not saying you have to do that every week for the rest of your life, but, you know, from what I understand, the people who have tried it, including myself, feel really good about it. And they feel like maybe it's entitled, selfish, whatever you want to call it, because it's for you. But at the same time, you're still helping people out. You know what I mean? And stuff like that. So.
I mean, and that's the thing, right? Like, there are a lot of ways. Like I always thought about, you know, like, cause okay, I'm a kid from a single mom. I live with my grandparents right now. Like, I'm literally just, you know, I've never had a lot of money to my name, and I've kind of like had, you know, I had trouble going to school. You know, I never really imagined college was for me because of all the debt and everything. So like, I've always had this mode of operating and seeing things, and like I always kind of imagined what good I could do if I had enough money, you know, and like what I could create, what business maybe, or what something to like stay, you know, like just stimulate the economy in some way. Like, just there's always like these, like you could make like a school, you could make a fucking like I don't know, like, or not even necessarily a traditional school, but like a something that would teach people technical skills, or just any, you could create a community space, and you could try and get town funding and backup, and there's all these things that people could do with money, and the people with the most money tend to just sit on it for power. Like some of the stuff I don't know everything about. I'm learning a lot, but I just, you know, I am the way I am. I operate the way I am because I've seen things and I've had access to certain things, and like, I don't know, man. I'm just out to try and make the best life for people, and it seems like there's a lot more that could be done in a country that's like, there's just so much that is like we are the richest country in the world still. We still, you know, and we could be operating in a way that make us all feel richer. You know what I mean? But instead, there's only a few of us that really feel rich, and it's just like, why with all this excess is there such struggle, you know?
Right.
Like that's, you know, and like honestly, like I don't know if I'd ever get into politics myself, but you know, like I like to stay educated. I like to figure out what's really going on, and you know,
Old man Liam is coming out. He's not with the times anymore.
I am.
I'm joking.
The thing is, I am with the times. Actually, like
yeah.
I was so disconnected from all this shit as a kid because I didn't really want to engage with it. Like I didn't want to engage with the struggle of the world and the hardship of the world because I didn't, you know, I don't know, like people, you know, like people who just blame the people in poverty for their poverty when in reality, if you haven't experienced that, why the fuck are you talking?
Right. Exactly.
Number one, but number two, there's just the fact that those people are engaging in such hardship and they're being like, I don't know, again, like I have these feelings where like to me poor people are a result of capitalism. Capitalism is again like and I feel like things like social, again I'm beating a horse, but you know that's just how I feel because of my experiences.
The last 8 years I've known 6 years I've known you. You've been that way the whole time. So that's one thing I will say is like this isn't like a character he plays to get on a forum and talk about you know what I mean, how bad the industry is, and he doesn't even want you to be on his side. He's not looking for that. He's genuinely just putting his opinion out there about the way that he thinks the world is, and you've been like that throughout the entire time I've known you. You've never been a person who's really conformed in a bad way or like, oh, you know, I guess I gotta be a new Liam but my boss says so. Like you're not like, no, fuck that guy. I'm gonna do what I feel like is right. And I think that there is something to be said for a man in this time, in this day and age, who actually says what he means. You know what I mean? And isn't trying to get something out of it, like a following or money or whatever. Yeah. You're just there to say it, and that's your opinion. Again, you're staying in this world. You're not navigating it, but you know everything that's happening around you. And you're still gonna say what you feel like is right. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I like that. I like that a lot. Seriously.
I was gonna say like, you know, talking about how you know, at your job and you're working a lot and you're not feeling fulfilled really from that, and you're trying to do, you know, like hobby stuff to stay engaged. Honestly, like I think there's little things like you have to work, right? So it's like the little things I try and glean from work that do make me at least feel a little bit fulfilled are my interactions with people. Yeah. And I will say that like I think that one of the highlights obviously is, you know, like the friendships that you make, right? So like we would never have gotten here if we did not work together and
true.
We were talking about
two guys at UPS.
We were really talking about the same shit. We were talking about podcasts and clothing. Right. And that's how we came together.
Oh man, we would spend hours talking in that warehouse too.
I know. And like that and you know, and we ended up here. We're making content together. We're actually like engaged in a relationship where we're both learning from each other and we're both benefiting from each other because we're part of a community in some way, right? Right. So it's like that is what I try and do with people, and there's not a whole lot of people who aren't necessarily, you know, down to do that stuff because a lot of people just want to work and go home. And don't really give a fuck. But you know, I mean, like the people.
But notice those people are the most miserable generally. Yeah. People just want to pick up and just like leave. It's like, you know, you like you said, it's important to like be social with people and stuff like that. I think that, listen, if you're a person who likes to be alone and you want your time by yourself, there's nothing wrong with that. It's completely on you. But there is a certain point where whether it's a love type of connection or whether it's a friendship or whether it's a family type of connection, there is a want for it. And it takes, I'm sure there are like psychopaths in the world that don't care about that. But like if you're a general person, it doesn't matter how introverted you are, you yearn for some sort of interaction or some sort of engagement.
Yeah. And I feel like I'm kind of an introverted person for the most part. Like I'm pretty keep to myself. But like you can tell on this podcast,
you've gone ballistic.
I can fucking talk like crazy.
You've gone ballistic. You know, I don't know if we can even post this. This has been so tense.
I'm too crazy.
This is it. Yeah, if that was the case, we would have taken the one with Sean down. I mean, like,
but like, yeah, I don't know. Like, I just feel like the people who have, you know, just told me my art is cool at work. The people who like, cause I draw on random shit, and then I like, you know, and then I have my hoodies. There's this girl who, you know, just told me my hoodie. Like, she was like, I work at a printing place. And she was like, did you print that hoodie? Or she was like, oh, nice hoodie. And I was like, oh, thanks, I make it. And she's like, oh, cool, I work at a printing place. And I'm like, oh, cool. And then next day I came in, she's like, oh, you make that too? And I'm like, yeah. I'm just like, that makes me feel like, it's weird, but it makes me feel like I'm part of a community in a sense where I'm like, I'm recognized for what I'm doing.
Right.
I am, I have this thing that I can show people and I can connect with people based upon, and they can connect with it.
Right.
And like that is what makes me feel fulfilled. Is like, I could keep doing this, and as long as I keep making cool things that make people feel this way, make people, like, it's not even about the fact that like 7 people at the warehouse bought it. It's just the fact that 7 people have it and that they can show it to people. And like, I don't know if I said this. I don't know if I ever told you this. You know Larry?
Yeah, he bought a shirt from you.
Yeah, he bought a hoodie from me, and right, he actually got 2. He got the second one. I don't know if I don't know which one you or know that he got or whatever, but he got my recent one, and it was the blue one I was wearing in my last podcast, and he delivers in Enfield, and he literally ran into my friends, and my friend was like, "You have Liam's hoodie."
Oh, yeah, you were telling me about that, yeah.
And he's like, Liam? And so they were like, that to me was just such a like crazy moment. Like, that is just, I mean, I know it's not that crazy. I mean,
no, that's crazy, because like that, I've had one moment like that ever, and it makes you feel like, whoa, that's crazy.
I know.
Like, it's like, I once sold internet, because I was doing door-to-door sales for like the 3-4 months, whatever.
Yeah.
I sold internet to a guy who asked me if I did a podcast.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, he was one of my friends, Zach's friends.
Okay.
Shout out Zach. But he it was one of his friends, and I sold his family right there, like the internet, and it was crazy because he texted me after. He's like, "Are you the podcasting kid?" Like, I was like, "Yeah," and he was like, "Oh, we love what you do, this and that." Like, he's like, He told me he showed his family, which I don't know how true, that is. But, like, it was a cool type of cumbersome moment, what I mean? Where it's like, wow, like, if it's one person, it's one person. I don't care. Like, it's that community building.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, awesome.
When I first made, like, this hoodie and, like, the I don't know, a lot of people in Enfield just responded really well that I used to go to school with. And I remember there was one message, shout out my boy Jameson, probably doesn't even watch. He probably pays no attention to any of these, but it's one of my old friends that I haven't spoken to in a long, long time. And I remember him messaging me and saying, "Man, like, I know so many people who really, really love your stuff, and it's just really cool." And I'm like, like, no amount of money can ever make me feel like that.
Right.
Like,
right.
I
exactly.
literally like that sort of like. I remember being at my friend's house, and he saw my shirt, and he was like, "Bro, I would like take that off your back like right now. That's crazy." And then my other friend was just like talking about like it was coming from his mouth, and he was talking about how passionate I was and how much I really cared, and I literally like almost cried, bro. It was just like that. Like, I can't tell you how fulfilling and how much confidence that shit gave me.
Right.
Like that.
Like, you're actually making an impact.
Yeah, like, I actually am part of something that, like, actually really matters, and I created something that, like, people really, it's like affecting things, you know what I mean? Like,
right.
And, it's just a stupid fucking design, a stupid piece of clothing, right? But, like, it made me feel fucking awesome.
And that's what I was gonna say. It's like an emblem in a sense, because it's like it shows that community aspect, and it kind of represents more than what just the drawing is of the owl and stuff like that. It's actually something that people wear and walk around in and feel good in, and then they're like, "Oh, well, I know the creator too, and you used to be one of my friends from high school." Or a lot of times it might be a friend from high school or a friend just in general, but his friend.
Yeah.
You don't know him. But his friend, has like, I know him. Like, of course I've seen his page. Stuff like that. Like, little shit like that. Even if they're not buying your clothing, it's that acknowledgement of what you do. Yeah. Which is, I feel like, very, very beneficial for you mentally. You know what I mean? Buy his clothing, by the way. I'm not saying not to do it. I'm not saying text him and say, I acknowledge
you. You don't have to do that.
But, no, but the point is, like, the fact is you make great art, and it shows, and it's, again, a sign of, like, what everything represents, what this community represents, rather, for you. So I think that's a great thing. And I don't know, man, the last 6 years, it's been crazy. Like, we're going to be on year 10 back at it, we're gonna,
But
I appreciate you for being here the whole time,
Yeah, of course, bro.
Seriously, we shot the podcast in the car, twice, man, for years, so.
Yeah, I honestly, I love being part of projects like this. Like I said before, probably off the air, but, I didn't really know a whole lot of people who ever made creative stuff in general. Like, there's very few people that especially in my close, connections that I felt like I was able to, especially back in high school, that I was able to, do anything fun on the camera with. I used to want to just, go out and make vlog videos, and, there was, maybe one, probably, my best friend who sat through, 3 or 4 of them, and then just kind of, he fell out of it because he just I don't really want to do this. And I'm like, I get it because you're not a YouTuber or whatever. But
right.
It just, I always saw these people online who they had these friend groups. They would all go out and do this crazy shit, and they would just have a bunch of fun together, and they would all have these separate channels, and they would just collect. It was just that's what I always wanted, and so to do anything like this, to be a part of something that, it's just people having fun, being friends, but also making something like that.
Right.
It's always what I've wanted to do.
I like that. And that was one thing that I was just going to touch on real quick. I know I've said that 3-4 times now. I'm going to touch on this real quick. And we're good. But, and it shows how good of a guest you are because I can't stop fucking, talking to you. But, no, it was funny because that's what really inspired me to kind of get back into it. For a long time, I was kind of in and out of it. I always knew I was going to start it again. I just didn't know when the time was. I really didn't. I mean, honestly, we could have been here in 2028. You know what I mean? With the way I was kind of running things and stuff like that, and that constant procrastination as well. But when you said that to me, what was that? That was back in June of last year, July.
Oh,
it was summertime.
That Discord thing when I was talking about if you do this thing, you can get people online.
No. You said that nobody else is doing.
Oh yeah.
Nobody else is doing anything cool like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that to me, that right there was enough for me where I was like, you're fucking right. Nobody's doing anything this. And it doesn't mean that I'm the guy, but it just means that I can step into the role and actually feel good about what I'm doing. And not feel like it was kind of, because towards the end, as you guys know, we weren't tracking off. My interest in the podcast was dwindling a little bit. When I shot I would say it was probably the gym one. Shout out to Ryan because he was great throughout the whole thing. Yeah. But that's kind of when I started clicking out a little bit. I'm like, I don't know if this is really for me. I don't know. And I went to the movie studio, did that. That was cool. But after that, I was pretty much checked out. And what checked me back in after 9-10 months of not doing anything or not even thinking about the podcast was you saying that. Okay. And then I've had other people I've seen in the gym or at work who was like, oh, didn't you run a podcast? My boss who hired me looked me up and told, and I didn't even know about this, but told his worker, did you know this kid runs a podcast? And it's just crazy that my boss would bring that up because he obviously has to look into the person that he's hiring, whatever. Yeah. But it's crazy that he saw that, Yeah. And he was happy about it. He was like, you should keep that. You should keep doing that. And it's that's kind of cool. So things like that. Again, what you were talking about when someone's wearing your hoodie or someone recognizes you, you feel like you're a part of a community. Yeah. And that's kind of where you've helped me restore a lot of that feeling of being a part of a community and not feeling like I'm just burning out constantly, coming up with ideas and different things because I shouldn't feel like that. Doesn't mean that every episode I have to have a rapper on or a freaking, artist on of some sort or a person who draws. I don't have to bring on specific types of people, just whoever I feel and whatever conversation works. Yeah. You know what I mean? There are going to be some podcasts you guys might watch where you're like, wow, this is a drag, man. This is a drag. And then there are going to be other ones where you're going to laugh the whole time and we're going to have a good time. So it's it depends on the...
Yeah, I mean, not everything's for everybody, and also just the internet isn't fair. The internet doesn't always play, evenly, So it's just, there's all this stuff that, probably slips through the cracks all the time because, even the people who I know who, online, who make, usually get, sometimes millions of views. Sometimes they make videos, and it's just because that video is about a certain subject or, a certain person or, something, that video might only get, 50,000 views.
Yeah,
and it's
I know what you're talking about.
There's always gonna be stuff like that. And if you are genuinely a creator, you've got to realize that not everything you do is gonna stick. Not everything that you do is going to really hit especially online, because online, like, it's not even a value of your actual work. Like, that thing can be great, but just because it doesn't reach as many people, you inherently feel like something's wrong with it, or you feel bad because you didn't get as much money off this or whatever. Like,
right.
There's always stuff like that, but like, you just kind of eventually grow a thick skin to that, because you realize that, like, if you're gonna be a content creator, that's just gonna happen. So that's gonna.
Well, it hurts my feelings. I'm gonna be honest with you. It hurts, and I'm not here for it. I quit. I'm done. It's been great. No, I'm joking. I get what you're saying. Like, it's one of those. It's a part of the process, right? Like, people are always gonna be critical if you do right or do wrong. Like, it doesn't really matter. Like, I mean, it does matter if you do right or wrong, but it doesn't really matter what you do in the world of content creation. If you want to bring your own idea to it, people might not be receptive to that, and that doesn't mean it was a bad idea. That just means it was an idea that you threw out there that you thought was really good, but then a bunch of other people disagree. Now, that goes to a certain point. Like, if I put out, like, a video about how I love Hitler, that would be a bit of a different, you know what I mean? That would be a bit of a different situation. That would be like, dude, nobody's going to get with this. Like, what are you thinking? But
it's ironic because people actually use that anyway.
If I get down on...
That's a whole rabbit hole.
If I get down on viewership, man, you'll see me,
Dude, people have done it. People have done it.
That's crazy.
And, it's wild because, like, man, I would say that, like, anything... I don't know why I said this wild. But anything that you do that just feels worth it to you. Anything that you do that feels like your energy is being put into something, at least so that you can look back and watch it later and be like, that's cool that I did that.
Right.
Like, that's the stuff that you should be putting your time and effort into.
Right.
And that's the stuff that you should be proud of,
Right.
Like things that really just, they just hit the mark with what you wanted to do, what you wanted to accomplish, what you wanted to set out for. And that just, they kind of serve as a mark of progress for you,
Right.
Like, that's what I see uploading to a site as, is like a portfolio, and like, if I can say that this is an accomplishment and I can go and show this to somebody, or I can see that, like, this is getting out to people and I feel good about that, like, that's what matters more than just getting a number on a video,
Right.
Because a lot of the videos that I made that really got out there to people, they were not videos I was proud of necessarily. They were videos that I wouldn't really show to anyone, but they happened to pay me a little bit of AdSense money, or they happened to serve, they serve to boost my ego and say that, oh, I made a video with 500,000 views. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Fucking Minecraft video,
Right. And I think it's also important to engage with the people who actually do like what you do. Because I think that even if you do throw an idea out there that might not be favorable, at least if you warn them ahead of time, it's easier. Like, okay, if I post on a podcast, I'm going to be bringing on a person who's controversial, and I let them know ahead of time that, you know what I mean? Like, you want to engage with the people who support you, because you don't want to just throw a blunder out there. Sometimes it's a nice surprise, but, like, if you bring on something that is going to be different, or just a little bit, like, if I film this in black and white, you know what I mean? Like, people would think there's something wrong with their freaking, what's going on with my phone right now? Like, so it's like, you want to engage with the people who do support you, and let them know, be honest about what you're trying to do, what you hope for it to work out to, and that gets rid of a lot of the anxiety, because you don't worry so much about, well, what are they going to think? Yeah. Because they've already pretty much given you the opinion without really watching the podcast, but, like, depending on what type of podcast you do or what type of art you put out, like, a lot of times I'm sure you throw out test art just to see what people, you know what I mean, how people dig it, if it's like a half-completed project or something.
It's funny because, like, I tend to, that's like the one thing I don't really do too much, is post, like, work in progress or anything.
Screw your point, Jacob.
No,
go for it. I'm joking.
No, but, like, there is a point where, like, something that I feel like is, like, like, I never know how anything is going to land. Almost everything I do feels like a test,
Yeah,
so,
okay, I see what you're saying.
But, what was I going to say? Something to do with, like, I don't know, dude. It's like you, every new thing really is, it really is a test. It's like, is this one gonna land, or, like, if you want to look at it in a statistical number sense, like, is this gonna land with my audience? Or, if you want to look at it in terms of an artistic attempt, it's like, I'm trying this new thing. Are people going to like it?
Right.
Is it going to appeal to anyone? Is it just something that I like? Or do I really like this? Because I think most of the time when I post something, I get a new feeling about it. Like, I don't usually hate on my art, like, because I do a pretty good job about polishing it to a level where at least it satisfies me. Like, at least I know I did what I wanted, I got what I hated out of it.
Right.
And so if someone doesn't like it, I have enough to stand on there where, like, it doesn't bother me.
Right.
Because I feel like I did what I wanted to do.
Right. I like that. I like that a lot.
But it doesn't always have to be like that, because, you know, there's always ways to see what you're doing, you know? Because as a kid, right, there was, like, when I was talking about my meme videos on YouTube would pop off, they would get thousands of views, and my personal videos would really only get like 100 to 200, maybe 1,000 max, like if I got really lucky.
Right.
But the fact that, you know, going back to what we were just talking about, like the idea that like 1,000, dude, I had a video once that had like over 100,000 views that was just an aimbot tutorial video on TF2. Everyone was coming to my video to hate on me and to dislike it and be like, fuck you, aimbotter.
Yeah.
And like, there was like, you know, maybe like 40% of the people were there being like, oh, nice. I downloaded this and I used it. It was cool. But like, you know, I used to be into like little hacking and stuff. I was like 14.
Right.
So I eventually realized, I'm like, man, this is kind of a stain on my channel. Like, this
aimbot is hilarious.
No, I mean, because yeah, I literally was into like modding games and hacking and fucking just because I was a little shit. I was a little kid. I just wanted to, I just thought that stuff was cool. You know, like using code to like break games and all this stuff. It's like, it is actually very interesting, the stuff that goes into some of that stuff. Just kind of like, if you wanted a modded Xbox, you have to like get a Xbox that has been hardwired, and there's so much that does that people actually have to do to that Xbox to get it to that point. It's actually really cool. But yeah, anyway, that was a video on my channel, whatever. I eventually took it down because I'm just like, you know, like all these people are coming to my channel and they're probably like, maybe they're haters sticking around and like watching my other shit and being like, fuck you.
Right.
You know, and it's like, it draws negative attention, and it's just like the idea that I'm getting a lot of attention, but it's not really doing much good for me. And like the idea that like, this is kind of some throwaway bullshit. Like, I don't really personally care about this, but like, even like 300 people, like imagine a room of 300 people. That's a lot of fucking people.
Yeah.
But the idea that it's not like 1,000 views, it's like your head gets in this place where you get used to certain numbers, and you know, use something really personal and you feel like it's really cool, and it doesn't hit that. It's just like, it feels at the time disappointing, but now I look back on that and I'm like, man, I really did what I wanted to, number one. I got a decent amount of people to watch it, number two, about my, like, sometimes I would just like ramble on about my thoughts about college and just the way that I feel in my, you know, like the way that I feel and what I wanted to do creatively. And like 700 people were on that video. Like, I got like, you know, something like 30 likes and people commenting about how they agree with me and how they feel the same. Like, that was the value there. Like, that's what I look back on and be like, that was really cool. Not the 500,000 view video. That shit was stupid. Right,
and that like high you kind of get off of people. There's no real difference between 30 and 30,000. If they're like, yes, is 30,000 a lot more? Yes. Would you be more appreciative? Maybe at that time, but would you really? Because like, think about it. If you had $1 million or $1,500,000. What's really the difference in money? Same thing with people. It's like, if you get your, you know, social high off of being connected with one person, then it shouldn't make a difference if it's 1, 10, 30, or 300. I
think what should matter, at least, like, yeah, and you know, again, it's like that initial fear that you get when you post it. It's like, oh shit, I want people to like it, I want people to watch it.
Right.
But the idea that like, if you, again, like 30 versus 3,000, if those 30 people came away with an amazing impression from your video, that is way more, like, you've connected with those people. Those people are probably not going to forget that. Right. But if it's 3,000 people that came away being like, what the fuck is this?
Right.
Like, that means nothing. That leaves no impression, unless it's a bad impression.
Right.
But like, you know, again, like, that doesn't do much for you. That doesn't benefit you. That's not really a worthy accomplishment. You know? Right. Except unless you're looking about it in pure statistics, pure capitalism, like, you know, and again, like, you don't get much money off YouTube unless you're popping off. Right. And like, not only do you have to pop off, the video has to be long enough, it has to be monetized.
Oh, don't worry, this video's fine. We're good. We're good, dude.
I know, bro.
We're close to 3 hours.
Yeah, I was gonna say we got like 3 hours.
But screw it. That's 3 hours of content. We're pumping out. You know what I mean?
But there are all these things, and you have to probably have a channel with other popular videos.
Right.
And you have to probably keep making content to keep making that money. Like, there's, like, it's not like you can just pop off once and you're good. Like, you have to. You have to just keep jumping through those fucking hoops, Right. And it's like it's kind of a magic that doesn't really stick with a lot of people. So it's like everyone goes into these things being like, I want to make money. I want to make money off of doing what I love. And then it gets to the point where you get burnt out because you're doing so much shit that, like, bro, like it just gets to the point, man, where you're just like, it's not even fun anymore.
Right.
Like you were saying with your podcast, you got to the point where you're like, you didn't really feel inspired to keep making episodes, so you just stopped.
Right.
But that's the thing. You should make episodes when you are inspired, and you should stop when you feel like you aren't.
That is true. That is true. I think to a certain extent, especially with content creation being probably the biggest aspect of it, is like if you pump out so much content for the sake of other people, or trying to get that viewership, trying to get that money, whatever, you jade a lot of your thinking from what the original content creation was. Because remember, when you started, you had 0 people.
Yeah.
What were you looking for then? Were you looking for viewership because now you got it, or were you looking to actually create something?
Yeah.
Because there are some people who are dog shit at what they do, but just want to bring on people.
Yeah.
I'm not great either, but like, you know what I mean? There are some podcasters that will bring on people and they'll be dead silent, like that girl that popped off. Oh God, I don't know her name.
Or some shit?
No. She was the girl that laid in the bed with Drake and did a podcast.
Oh, I didn't hear about that.
Oh yeah. She was like the driest podcaster ever. No one knew how she got it, but she had all these successful people on her podcast that made the platform. So they were really just there for the guests, which is important. It's important to be there for the guests, but like, you should also be there because you somewhat enjoy, you kind of enjoy the personality that's on the podcast. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like, dude, as like I said, when I was 13, I really just made videos because I wanted to do this thing where I would just like make a video about what I liked. You know what I mean? Like, play video games, do a thing, make a video. And like, it was just for the simple aspect that like I thought it was fun to make videos.
Right.
But then obviously very quickly I got swept up in the idea of money, numbers, capitalism, all that, all that shit just kind of, it's just this subconscious driving force.
Right.
And it does change the way that you do what you do. That being said, obviously I did make a lot of videos that I liked and came back to, and that was fun. But, it's very easy to just kind of lose the initial intention of what you were doing. And like, if you're experienced in it, then you can kind of, like, if you're not experienced in it, you're never gonna know that this is gonna happen to you. So it's just kind of a natural thing that happens to a lot of people. They get disappointed, they get frustrated that their stuff isn't doing well or whatever, and they go through these highs and lows and feelings of success and depression, and like you kind of gotta learn that that's part of the thing, and that you kind of gotta ignore some of those feelings in the process, and like I said, like, again, like, if you're, like, not only does being uninspired while making something feel bad, but you're not going to make something good.
That's what I mean, is, like, that girl that brought on, like, she was so dry throughout the whole podcast. Yeah. It's like, if you do everything if you do the opposite of everything she did, you'll have a successful podcast. If you feel that way watching her, then it is exactly like that, where it's like, she's clearly not inspired. She even talked about how she started the podcast to see how much money she could bring.
Exactly.
Like, that was her main motive. So it's like, when you look at that, I definitely understand. I think a lot of people can relate to that too, is like, feeling inspired to do something, but the next day not. Yeah. And then they try on the day that they're not, maybe you're inspired, you have a good idea. Mm-hmm. All right, I'll procrastinate, I'll put it off a little bit. I think that's where people get caught up, because you're not going to have the same type of mood or inspiration or motivation to do it as you did a couple days earlier. Now, sometimes you just gotta do things that, you don't want to do, regardless of if it sucks or not. When it comes to a hobby, content creation, things that you want to do on the side, like for me, I don't care about money. I've told you this several times. I don't care about money. I don't give a shit about if 3 people watch this. None of that matters to me. Like, for me, I'm here to bring people on because I enjoy talking to them. And hopefully we make a great episode out of it. Yeah. And I'm not leaning into the content creation, social media bullshit that, so many people get caught up in. Mm-hmm. And I think that it takes a real person to kind of have that ability to distinguish between what's fake and garbage and will take you down the wrong road, and what a real podcast could look like, what real conversation could look like. Because that's been the best thing about this podcast is the conversation, you know. And I mean, it's not any of the setup or any of the audio. It's definitely conversation, right? And I think that, you know, you have two personalities in a room that really work together. That's why you should watch the podcast, not because some girl brought somebody famous on and said she wanted money and she got the money, but she's still a very, very dry podcaster. So it's like, I definitely understand what you're saying. I think me and you are both feeling the same way. 3 hours, you guys. We're doing it, you know? I don't care.
And just, you know, maybe a closing thought. Like,
I
feel like the idea that, like, going back to algorithms and stuff, that the algorithm is going to kind of push you out. From what I understand, if you are not a special type of creator and you don't have a lot of people waiting for you to post your next thing, and you kind of just like social, like, algorithms want you to post at a certain pattern, right? And so they want you to post consistently. They want you to post like maybe like once a day or some shit like that. But it's like that inherently, I remember being like 17 or 18 and just feeling the weight of like, I have to keep making videos. And I have to make them as fast as I can. You know what I mean? Because like, otherwise I'm going to lose my thing. I'm going to lose my people. I'm not going to be able to do what I do and reach at least like, because, you know, probably my average video between like 50 and like 150 views, somewhere in there. And then, you know, I'd have like maybe like every couple months a video with like, that would like peak over 1,000, 2,000, 3,000. I had like a few that went over 10K, 25K. You know, maybe like 3 or 4 that actually hit 100 plus. And then that one that hit 500. So like those were like my, like 500,000.
Right.
So like those were like my accomplishments, and that was my consistency. So I felt like I had something there for sure for a while, and I felt like scared to lose, to lose that. And it's like, you feel like, you know, you upload a video and then people stop paying attention, and then it's just this slow decline into like almost obscurity. Like I was uploading videos and people were like 20, 25 views, and I'm just like, here I worked like 6, 7 years, 8 years for this fucking channel, and then again it boils down to like what am I getting out of this? What am I really grinding this for? And then, you know, at the end of the day you get worried that you're not, you know, you just like, I tried to pivot to a different channel, that totally fucking flopped.
Right.
And it's just like, bro, this shit is so overwhelming. Like, I felt bad because I had to keep squeezing my brain for YouTube video ideas, and then those would be shitty videos, and I wouldn't feel great about them. They wouldn't really perform well, and it was just this loop. It was just a loop of like kind of feeling bad about it, and like I honestly want to go back to it just to make a couple of videos every once in a while, not worry at all about timing or feeling like I have to push anything out.
Just for you.
Just because there's a few videos that I remember making, and I'm like, that was such a fun, stupid experience.
Right.
And dude, I will tell you how stupid these are, and how there's no likelihood of these ever blowing up to any degree at all, and ever like meaning anything financially to me. But it's so funny. Like I used to make these videos where because I used to play a lot of games. And so, like, my whole YouTube channel was based upon playing games, like Let's Plays and shit.
Right.
But eventually I started just doing these videos where it was very, like, more, like, philosophical and, like, kind of, like, personal. And I would just kind of, like, play a game and, like, talk about whatever I felt like. And there was this stupid series where I made, like, only, like, 2 or 3 of these. But I would play Lego Star Wars because I thought it was so stupid that I was, like, 18 years old playing Lego Star Wars. And I would just basically one-shot the video. No editing, no anything, just talking and seeing where that went. And that was such a stupid, like, funny thing. And I was talking about, like, my feelings about college and just, like, my...
But you're reminiscing now.
Yeah, no,
because it was like you liked putting out that content.
Yeah, it was... Yeah. Dude, it was such a genuine encapsulation of who I was at that time. A lot of my videos really are that. Like, that's what my benefit is to having done all that, is I have this encapsulation of who I was at 16, or like basically 13 to like 18, 19. That's like, I have almost all that. I've recorded, like, I have just a bunch of recordings of just who I was. And that's just, it's such a fun time capsule because sometimes you really just go back and you're like, wow, this was my fucking life at this time.
Right.
I don't know. And then I used to make not a lot of vlogs, but at the very end I got a camera and I was recording all these things with the camera, and so there's a lot of memories with just me and my friends fucking around.
Right.
And a lot of it is cringy, like you said. Like, you know, you were looking back on you're trying to watch your own podcast.
Let's not talk about this, Liam, right now.
No, but it's something that every creator goes through. I'm telling you. If you you know, there's all these things that, like, you know, you might look at yourself doing it and you're like, ugh. And but then someone else might be like, there's nothing wrong with that. You know what I mean? Right. So it's like, at the end of the day, there does come a time where I have to turn the videos off because I'm like, I can't watch it.
Just too much Liam, right?
Yeah,
but I get what you're saying. Like, I feel the exact same way. Like, when I did tell you, I watched the podcast and I was like, you know, there's some of them I
said there was nothing wrong with what, you know, what you thought there was a problem with. So, like, you know, it just happens, man. It's why it's hard to put yourself out there.
Right.
It's why, like, you know, like, it's, you know, any creation is you being vulnerable. It's you kind of exposing your true self to the world in some way. And not even your true self, but kind of a part of yourself that you never really, that people don't really normally see, you know? Like, like, you know, when someone sees my art, they're, you know, it's like, if I'm not confident in it and I'm not like fully behind it, you know, I might get a bit nervous if someone, like, because I actually sometimes I get nervous when people compliment my shit.
Yeah, a little anxious, right?
Like, I don't even know what their correct reply is. Sometimes.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know. It's obviously not, you know, a bad thing. People compliment my stuff, but sometimes I'm just like, man, you're looking at me. You're like, damn, you like my clothing. Okay, that's cool.
Well, I think it's also one of those things too, where it brings you that anxiety, but in a good way. Like, it gets you kind of excited.
Yeah.
I also think it's a real quick responsibility thing. Like, a lot of times if someone likes your content, you will feel more apt to put it out. You just do by nature. Yeah. And it doesn't mean that you want them for viewership specifically. But if someone comes up to me and says, hey, Jacob, I really like that podcast you did with Liam. Yeah. You know what I mean? What am I going to think? Well, you know, maybe I'll do another podcast with Liam soon. You know what I mean? That's like one of the first thoughts, not to get that guy and keep him, but more so because he enjoyed it. And, you know, I wonder how many other people were like that. Yeah. You know what I mean? Who actually enjoyed it. They just don't say anything. Yeah. You know, because that happens a lot too. Where, like, somebody might not know the clothing that they're wearing or who made it, but they really like the clothing. Yeah. You know what I mean?
I mean, and that goes back to social media too, to some degree, because people will see my stuff and they won't even, like, I kind of think it kind of flopped because people don't, you know, some people just don't click like or whatever. But, like, you know, I only thought a certain amount of people saw it, and then sometimes someone was like, dude, I saw that and it was awesome and I want one. Right. Like, okay. It's like,
I got you.
You know, there's just this, like, you know, you get this perception due to numbers and statistics, and then you realize, oh, this number is kind of stupid.
Right. Well, I'm happy that we got on here. Yeah. I'm happy that we talked for as long as we did, really, honestly, because like, we had a lot to kind of go over the last year and a half. Yeah. I mean, I think it's been 2 years almost to the month, you know. Probably. Like, it was like April or March of 2024 when we last shot a video together. Yeah. So this is really awesome, and just being able to work with you again and, you know, kind of take all your creative ideas in a sense, because you have a lot of ideas about the way the podcast should be set up. You know a lot about audio and, like, setup and stuff like that. So, like, picking your brain on that stuff, on camera, off camera, whatever the case may be, it's just been a real joy. And the last 6 years, man, have been a crazy, awesome fucking journey where we're trying to figure everything out, and, like, sometimes you feel bipolar. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if anyone feels that way, but, like, some days you feel like you're like, I didn't have this emotion yesterday, you know what I mean? But then, like, it's so crazy how your brain just shifts every day to the point where you feel like you have a condition, you know what I mean? But you don't. You're just a normal person walking around trying to navigate everything. So
yeah, and I think, like, that's a big reason, I think, too, why creation, if you just keep making stuff, you'll get so many different things, because you're always kind of going through something. You always kind of have a different, I don't know, I always usually have not different principles running through my head at different times, but, like, I always have a different focus, you know, and it's like, one day it could be this thing, one day it could be that thing, but, like, at the end of the day, like, your mood goes into it, what you've recently been consuming, whether it's, like, art or music or whatever is related to your content that inspires you. Right. Like, a lot of music inspires me because music, it's like a lot of the music that I listen to is very like, it makes me feel motivated, makes me feel energized, makes me feel confident. So it's like that energy, that just pure emotion, I can put that into my art. I can use that to be like, okay, well, I'm gonna do something really cool. What is that? I'm not quite sure yet, but like I think we were talking about it just a little bit, but like there's just this idea where like when you're making something new, it's part of what you're doing is you're pushing yourself again to just being like, can I do something beyond what I have done? Can you? And again, it's kind of a stupid way to describe it, but it's just like every time you try, even if you fail, that could be a masterpiece. It could be something amazing. So that's why you just gotta keep trying, and then when you do fail, or whatever failure is to you, when you do fail, you just gotta take it in stride and be like, next time I can do it better, or like this idea maybe isn't great, but like you just can't take it personally. You just gotta keep it moving, and you just gotta consider it something that is necessary for your inevitable success. You know,
I love that. I think that's the best way it could have been put. Is like something that's you have to kind of go through for your inevitable success. I like that a lot because it's like you have to push through. You know, other people's opinions and you know what you may how you may perceive your art compared to how other people may perceive your art. So I think it's great, and I think a lot of people are going to get a lot out of this episode and hearing you, because nobody ever hears from you generally. You know what I mean? So it's kind of good to keep up with the business and get inside your head. We'll definitely do another one. Maybe tomorrow. Fuck it. I mean, at this point, you know what I mean? We could talk for like 10 days. Screw it.
Yeah,
but
just backlog all that shit, you know what I mean?
Oh, we would upload it so quick, just raw cuts, 10 and a half hours. So like, I don't know if we could sit this one out.
It will be interesting to see how this boils down, like with the time after we edit it down, but yeah.
I don't know. There's so much value. I know.
I was gonna say like
so much value to it. I don't know.
To cut out.
In my opinion, I'm not saying we're philosophers or anything, but like
we're the fucking like the Philosopher's Stone from Harry Potter, bro.
Yeah. Exactly. We're like made up philosophers. We're like Jehovah's Witnesses that pretend to be philosophers.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll show up at
put that on a shirt. I'll put that on a shirt.
No, but I do love having podcasts with you. And I think a lot of people get a lot of value out of this. So I appreciate you for being on, my man.
It's been awesome, bro.
Appreciate it.
Hell yeah.